this bell signaled the passage of the Monon Railroad line from Crawfordsville, 27 miles through the wooded Indiana farmland down to Green Castle. Today, that bell is the symbol of the oldest continuous football rivalry west of the Allegheny Mountains. The Little Giants of Wabash versus DePauw University. From Blackstock Stadium in Green Castle, Indiana, it's the Little Giants of Wabash versus the Tigers of DePauw. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Texaco, working to keep your trust for 75 years by bringing you quality gasoline and other fine automotive products. By United Airlines. United built the largest airline in the free world around you. And by the 1,700 J.C. Penney stores, coast to coast, and the catalog. A beautiful day here in Green Castle, Indiana, cold and clear. Big crowd in Blackstock Stadium. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. I must admit to you that up until a few days ago, I knew virtually nothing about DePauw and Wabash and the Monon Bell. But on my first visit here Thursday night, I was taken on the campus of Wabash to see the bell. And when I saw the students who were staying up all night to guard that bell, I began to get a sense of the incredible traditional rivalry that exists here. So our attention today will be focused on this battle for the Monon Bell here in the heart of Indiana. We will be joining in progress later on our nationally televised game between the Buffaloes of Colorado and the Sooners of Oklahoma, which is taking place in Norman, Oklahoma. We should be able to join that game in about the third quarter. Right now, let's take a look around the country and see what the top teams in college football are doing today. In the coaches' poll, the top 10, you will first see number 1, Texas, trying to remain the only unbeaten and untied team in the top 10. Today, they play Texas Christian at home. Number 2, Alabama, the Crimson Tide hosting Miami of Florida. They still believe that if they go on and win the Sugar Bowl, they might get a national championship. Oklahoma, as we told you, at home against Colorado, will be joining that game in progress later on. Number 4, Ohio State, led by their great quarterback, Rod Gerald, at home today to play Indiana and tune up for next week's battle with Michigan. Number 5, Notre Dame, devastating ever since the insertion of Joe Montana at quarterback. A tough game down in Death Valley today to play the Clemson Tigers. Number 6, Michigan, Harlan Huckabee and Rick Leach tuning up against Purdue for their battle with Ohio State next week. Number 7, the Arkansas Razorbacks, playing at Texas A&M in a game that will be very important in determining the Southwest Conference. Number 8, Penn State at home to host Temple. The Nittany Lions are 8-1 under Joe Paterno. Number 9, Pittsburgh, 7-1-1 with Matt Cavanaugh at quarterback, playing Army in East Rutherford, New Jersey today. And number 10, Nebraska, with a record of 7-2, at home to play host to Kansas. As I told you, our attention for the next 3 hours will be focused on the battle for the Monon Bell, this traditional rivalry between Wabash and DePauw. And our expert commentator, the former coach of the Naval Academy and the Detroit Lions, is Rick Forzano. And Coach, you were involved in some traditional rivalries. What do you think of this one?
Well, I sure was involved in some of those, Jim. This is a big one. After 3 days here, I had to keep from trying to steal that Monon Bell myself. I'll tell you, it's exciting.
They say that, this game is a season in itself. It's going to have to be for Coach Bob Bergman and DePauw. They come in with a record of 1-8 and trying to salvage everything today.
Well, they can do it. Being 1-8 doesn't mean a thing right now. Bob Bergman, rookie coach, and Steve Hendig, a rookie quarterback. But they're ready. It's 1-8, but that doesn't mean a thing. It's zip. This is a new season for them.
Big surprise, the freshman from Connecticut, Steve Hendig, getting his first start at quarterback today. On the other side of the field, you have Wabash, a team 8-1 with playoff aspirations in Division III. I know their coach, Frank Navarro, is an old coaching buddy of yours.
Well, certainly Frank goes back to the East Coast, Williams and Columbia University, a fine football coach. He's got a great quarterback, an experienced quarterback, and Doug Harvey has broken all the passing records, total offense records at Wabash. There are veterans against the rookies.
Their quarterback, as we mentioned, David Harvey, number 11 for Wabash. He has been among the statistical leaders all year in Division III, comes into this game ranked 6th in the nation among Division III quarterbacks in passing and 6th in total offense. And a little bit earlier, about 15 minutes before we came on the air, I had a chance to talk to David Harvey. Dave, what kind of things do you think and feel going into the DePauw game that make it different from any other game all season?
Well, it's our big rivalry down the road here, down 43. This year it's particularly important because we have a playoff berth riding on this game. DePauw is 1-8 and we're 8-1, and it's a crucial game for us this season to win it for our own sake and the rivalry and also the playoffs.
How can you have any real fear of a team that's 1-8?
I think records are thrown out for this game. DePauw is going to be up, and you just never know what they're going to throw at you in a big game like this. If they win this game, it'll make their season. We're expected to win with our 8-1 record, so it'll be interesting, and I'm confident we're going to pull it out.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave, and good luck. It's Dave Harvey who will be leading the Little Giants today. Coach, one team is 8-1, the other is 1-8. Were it not for the rivalry, you'd say this has to be a one-sided game.
But it won't be, because in the last 13 years, the point spread has only been 11 points at the most. So it's going to be a close ball game. It always has been. When you have a rivalry like this, it just turns out. As Tommy Mott, the athletic director here, said, he wished he was coaching one more time in this football game.
10 years ago in 1967, DePauw came into this game expecting a postseason bowl bid with only one loss. Wabash came in with a 1-7 record, and the Little Giants of Wabash turned things around and won that game to knock DePauw out of a bowl. DePauw will be trying to duplicate the feat today against a Wabash team that is 8-1, and if they win today, quite probably headed toward the Division III national playoffs, which begin next week. And right now, here come the Little Giants of Wabash onto the field. The Tigers of DePauw. So both teams are now on the field, and we'll be back for the start of this battle for the Monon Bell in just a moment. On the far side of the field in the white uniforms with red trim, the Little Giants of Wabash. As we told you, they come into this game with a record of 8 wins, only one loss. That loss in the second game of the season to Hope College. And right now, Wabash is one of 3 teams in this area, the others being Albion and Wheaton, which are still being considered for a Division III playoff bid. On the near side, the home team, the DePauw Tigers, a very discouraging season of 1-8, but everything starts over today. DePauw has had some difficulty with injuries. They lost their original starting quarterback, Rich Bowling, early in the year. Today, they'll be going with a brand new quarterback, freshman Steve Hinding from Connecticut, getting his first start. Coach Forzano, I know that the people on the other side of the field are going to be surprised to see Hinding out there as the starter.
Yes, because Wabash really doesn't expect to see him start, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on a young man. Number 15, Steve Hinding, I'll tell you, the pressure is going to mount on him every time. Right now, he's got to have a little lump, but boy, when that kickoff starts, he'll be ready.
DePauw will get the ball on offense because they will be receiving the opening kickoff on the right of your screen. Number 15, Hinding, will be leading the offense when they have the ball in play. He's a 6-foot, 185-pound freshman from Madison, Connecticut. He's thrown only 20 passes this year, run the ball only 15 times, but Coach Bob Bergman, who has elected to put things in Hinding's hands today, says that he is perhaps the quickest of the quarterbacks he has on hand and the one best equipped to run the veer offense that Bergman went to this year. The man there tying his shoelaces is number 9, Curt Cox, who will be kicking off for Wabash. Deep to receive for DePauw, number 44, Lou Borsellini, and number 36, Tom Kleinschmidt. Kleinschmidt is the starting tailback, the key to the running game. Crowd of over 4,000 here in Blackstock Stadium, which holds only 3,981. There'll be incredible hijinks, tomfoolery, craziness around the field throughout the football game. This rivalry involves some of the most wacky things you'll ever see, and the game is underway. Kleinschmidt with the football, cutting back to the middle of the field. Number 36, Tom Kleinschmidt, the starting tailback, took the opening kickoff back to about the 23-yard line. Knocked down on the play by Mel Gore, starting cornerback for Wabash, and DePauw will have the football. 1st and 10 at the 23. The backfield is 15, Steve Hinding at quarterback. Kleinschmidt, 36, is one running back. The other should be 46, Steve Trulast. The flanker is number 14, Randy Beach, and the tight end, 81, Bob Dolan, the split end, 87, Dean Hadley. Hinding on the first play of the game, gives to Kleinschmidt. He's met at the line of scrimmage, picks up a couple of yards before Mike O'Quinn, number 55, made the stop. Starting defense for Wabash. You'll see across the front line, 81, Lance Richardson at end, Tim Kennedy, 71, a tackle, 53, David Patton at nose guard, 63, Chuck Fisher, a tackle, 86, Mark Knopfinger at end. the giant or moving player on the defense is number 40, John Ruddy. The linebackers, 59, Bill Cannon, and 55, Mike O'Quinn. DePauw on second down, about 8 yards to go. Hending comes left and is met immediately by number 86, Knopfsinger, the defensive end, and also John Ruddy, number 40. Hending, as we told you, is a freshman, getting his very first start. Early in the year, the starter was Rich Bowling, and as Coach Bob Bergman told us yesterday, Bowling was injured, never really recovered adequately from the injury to move into the veer.
Well, they came with Hending because they feel that he can run the veer the best, and he can also throw the football. They have been unable to throw the football, have not thrown a touchdown pass, so they must throw in this football game.
Third down, passing situation, 8 yards to go for a first down. Hending looking downfield, the ball is off the hands of Randy Beach, intended receiver. And we'll take a look in slow motion.
Here's Randy Beach going down. All he does is run a little turn in. Actually, the ball is thrown very well. He should have had it, just a drop pass.
So it's a fourth down.
Inside.
Okay, thank you, Coach Forzano. Fourth down, punting situation. Wyrick deep to punt. The ball is partially blocked. It's a good roll for DePauw and goes into Wabash territory, out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. Yardage on the kick is 30 yards. And let's take a look in slow motion to see who got a piece of the ball. Well, it's hard to tell on our particular monitor. 44, the man who got a piece of the ball for Wabash is Jerome Baldwin, a strong safety from Valdosta, Georgia, and they told us yesterday that he was the man who would be set up to try to block this. Eric Eichholz makes the stop on Randy Mellinger, carrying the ball for the first time for Wabash. On offense for Wabash, the quarterback, number 11, Dave Harvey. You saw him in the pregame show. 25, Randy Mellinger, the tailback. 34, Tom Conway, the starting fullback. The flanker is 22, John Barry. The tight end, 84, Mick Martin. And the split end, 83, Greg Kuzman. We'll talk about the offensive line later. It's second down, 7 yards to go. Reverse. Mellinger gives to John Barry. And Barry's got room on the right sideline. Number 16, Jerry Hammond, reserve safety man, came over to make the stop. We don't know why Hammond is in the game to start. Well, yeah, we do. As a matter of fact, Dan Whaley, number 41, who starts at safety ahead of him, has been favoring a sore ankle and apparently not ready to go today. Pickup of 18 yards and a first down by Barry on the play for Wabash.
That's a good play to start with early in the ball game. It'll cut down the pursuit of that DePauw defensive football team.
And they come now with the fake reverse. Harvey looking deep. He's got a man open in the end zone, and the ball is not there in time. Hammond was there to break up the play. The intended receiver was Paul Hermeling, reserve quick end who was in the game. And we'll take another look at this double reverse pass with Harvey trying to go deep to Hermeling.
Well, really, it's Harvey pitching the ball out, and he's going to end up with the football. It's an old flea flicker pass. It's kind of like a triple reverse with a quarterback in and up with the ball and thrown deep down the field, and Hammond makes an excellent defensive play.
We said Hermeling was the intended receiver. That is incorrect. It was Greg Kuzman, 83. Harvey moving in the backfield. The ball is picked off. Hammond with the football. One blocker in front. And Hammond gets it back across the 50 to about the 48-yard line. A flag is down. Like David Harvey just waited a little too long. He had an open receiver for a moment. Personal foul is going to be called against DePauw. So that will cost the Tigers 15 yards of that run back by Hammond. But the first turnover of the football game, and Dave Harvey, who threw 3 interceptions in the first half last year, throws one here.
Yes, he's a little late again on the throw, as you point out, Jim. And again, Hammond seems to be all over the field in the first few minutes. He made a great defensive play there. And again, as you point out, 3 interceptions Harvey threw in last year's game.
Hammond is a 190-pound senior from Indianapolis, playing his last game for DePauw. Hending throws over the middle. The ball is tipped into the air. Wheatley made the tackle. It was Hadley, 87, No, check it. Dolan, 81, who had the football. Bob Dolan made the reception on the first completion of the game by Hendig. Pick up on the play of about 5 yards. It'll be second down, 5 to go for a first down. DePauw's second possession. This time to give is to Kleinschmidt, and he gets a pickup of about 3 before Chuck Fisher, senior from Dayton, Ohio, number 63, made the stop for Wabash. Kleinschmidt is number 36, a freshman from Indianapolis, 5'9" and 165 pounds. He moved into that starting running back position in about the 3rd or 4th game of the season for DePauw. So you get a look there at the DePauw head coach, Bob Bergman. He spent 9 years as the coach at Rose-Hulman College, team which plays both DePauw and Wabash, so he has had a familiarity with this rivalry, coaching in it now for the first time. Third down. Give is to Kleinschmidt. He breaks off the right side, picks up enough for the first down. It was Trulast, 46, not Kleinschmidt, 36. Trulast with the football, and Cannon made the stop for Wabash.
You know, you can just feel the emotion in this ball game, and it takes place in every game like this, and it can turn a team like DePauw completely around. They can play over their heads in a football game like today.
DePauw with a record of 1-8, Wabash 8-1. The Tigers are primed to the maximum of emotional effort today. Hending gives to Trulast. He gets only a couple up the middle. Nose guard David Patton, number 53, makes the stop for Wabash. It'll be second down and about 9 yards to go. Hending, Trulast, and Kleinschmidt in the backfield. Wide to the left is Beach, flanker. Hending on the pitch to Kleinschmidt. Good yardage up the right side. He's knocked out of bounds by 71, a defensive tackle, Tim Kennedy. Wheatley, the safety man, was also there.
Jim, just to point up something here for a second, Steve Hendig, you know, they've got him in there to run the veer, and he is doing an excellent job. He is pulling the ball out at the right time, doing a great job of faking, and then kicking the ball out. They may have made a right choice here early.
Third down now, 4 yards to go for the first down. DePauw out of the I formation this time. Hending drops straight back, throws a little flare to Kleinschmidt. Kleinschmidt slipped down. Number 40, the Giant, John Ruddy. We call him the Giant or the Monster Man. Both teams play essentially a monster defense. John Ruddy is the Giant for Wabash, and Scott Thompson plays the Tiger position for DePauw, but they're both essentially monster men who can move all over. So the incompletion makes it fourth down, 4 yards to go. And once again, Wyrick will be back to punt. This time he gets it away cleanly, a low punt. Number 26, Dennis Lewis, with a return of only about 3 yards, so Wabash will have the ball. We have 10 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the first quarter in Greencastle, Indiana. Wabash begins their second possession. Harvey fumbles the football, and it's going to be the DePauw ball at the 15-yard line. Once again, I think it was Jerry Hammond, number 16, who was there to fall on the football. Jerry Hammond was not scheduled to start this game. He's been playing behind a freshman named Dan Whaley. But Hammond came up to pick off the fumble, and he now has forced 2 turnovers in the football game.
Dave Harvey's coming out here to run the veer. He takes the ball out. He's going to keep it. He's surprised. He coughs up the football.
Joe Trimble, number 56, forced the fumble. Hammond recovered. Now, Trulast going to the left, and he gets about 3 yards down to about the 12. Big opportunity for DePauw. Lance Richardson, 81, a sophomore defensive end, made the stop, along with Tom Weber, number 42, the starting cornerback.
Jim, that's the kind of play that can turn a ball game like this. An emotional factor in here. They've got the ball down in scoring territory. If they get 6, 7, or 3, it's going to help them immeasurably.
From a physical standpoint, DePauw is the bigger ball club. Wabash is the quicker of the two teams. In short yardage situations, DePauw may be better than their record indicates. Hending is wrapped up immediately by Richardson, and it's no gain. So now, the Tigers back at the 14-yard line will be facing a 3rd down 9 situation. And they would like to move the football a little closer. They'll be using a new field goal kicker today, Mark Frazier. The DePauw center is going to be doing the place kicking for the first time all season. Ending drops back under a little pressure, but he gets away. Ball is tipped up into the air and incomplete. Randy Beach was the intended receiver down near the goal line. We didn't see who got a hand on it to knock it up into the air, but it looked like it may have been number 55, Mike O'Quinn, the linebacker. Frazier is now lining up to attempt a 31-yard field goal. Now, he is place kicking for the first time all season. Coach Bob Bergman told us that Frazier should have been the kicker before, but they didn't have anybody to snap it back. Randy Beach holds. Frazier's kick is blocked. Ball is loose. And it'll be Wabash ball at about the 27-yard line. Jerome Baldwin, who got a hand on the punt earlier, blocks the field goal, and now Baldwin has blocked 2 kicks for Wabash.
Here is just the fact that they couldn't protect on the inside. The whole middle comes in. It's a little bit of a high snap. He sets it down kind of slowly, but the pressure is in the middle. There's no way he can get the kick off. It's blocked. Number 44 again, Jerome Baldwin. He's the person they said that can block punts and extra points and field goals. We've already got defensive stars. Baldwin has blocked 2 kicks for Wabash. Hammond has forced 2 turnovers for DePauw. Give on first down. Up the middle to number 34, Tom Conway. Freshman fullback from Morganfield, Kentucky. Don Pogue, a linebacker, number 63, made the stop for DePauw. Pick up on the play of about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7. Harvey giving to Randy Mellinger. Randy Mellinger, who is the leading runner and receiver. Well, he's the second leading receiver, I should say, for Wabash. He has over 500 yards rushing and over 500 yards receiving. The leading receiver for Wabash is number 84, the tight end, Mick Martin. And he's caught 39 passes on the year, a reflection of the relatively frequent number of times that Wabash normally throws the football. Now they've got 3rd down and 1, short yardage situation. Mellinger, the tailback, is 25. Conway, the fullback, 34. Harvey's going to roll out and try to get the yardage, and he's got it. First down, out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Tim Sellers, number 88, defensive end, made the play for DePauw. And now let's have a look at Sellers, number 88.
Well, he's probably the best defensive player that they have on the DePauw. You can see he's going to put the pressure right now on Harvey. He sees that he's going to get outside. He has good lateral movement. He's going to chase him down to the sideline, make the play. That's a heck of a play by a defensive end to put the pass rush on and knock him out of bounds.
And that cornerback came up to knock him out of bounds. That was Scott Fencing, number 22. Mellinger now loses the football for a moment, but falls on it as he gets across the 40 to the 41. Eric Eichholz, number 78, sophomore from Indianapolis, made the stop for DePauw. 2nd down, 3 yards to go, and you see Randy Mellinger, number 25, limping off the field. That would be a very serious loss for Wabash if Mellinger cannot return. Dave Galloway comes in to replace him.
Boy, anytime you lose a guy that scores 11 touches, that's tough.
Randy Mellinger with 11 touchdowns on the year on the bench right now. Fake to Conway, no give to Conway. He gets only about a yard. Don Pogue, the linebacker, number 63, coming up to make the hit, along with the right side of that DePauw defensive line. Terry Smith, number 79, another linebacker, was also there. Sellers comes back into the game, replacing 84 Frank Hoffman for DePauw. And now it will be 3rd down, 6 yards to go for the Little Giants. Harvey dropping straight back. Over the outstretched fingertips of Conway, Guy Relford, number 72, a defensive tackle, came right up the middle to put the pressure on Harvey.
They had an all-out blitz on that time. It was a good call, and I'll tell you, they pressured him, made him throw it a little sooner than he wanted to. He wanted to go to one of his favorite receivers, Mick Barton, but he couldn't do it with the pressure.
John Pavlik, number 82, will go back to kick now for Wabash. He's averaged 37 yards per kick on the season. Ball will be snapped from about the 43. Kick is low. Kleinschmidt has the ball inside his 10-yard line. Gets away from a couple of tacklers and out to about the 15. So a little bit of running room off the 48-yard punt. And DePauw will have the ball when we return in a moment. Caravan of cars began arriving, completing the 27-mile trip down the road from Crawfordsville here to Greencastle for this game. It was the Wabash Caravan. It did not end until just a few moments before the kickoff, but now the entire stadium is ringed with automobiles that came down from Crawfordsville to bring the Wabash people. And on first down for DePauw, the give is to True Last, the fullback. He gets a couple of yards before Tim Kennedy, number 71, defensive tackle, made the stop for Wabash. Second down, 9 yards to go. Call it a gain of only 1 on first down. And Wabash has begun to put the clamps on the DePauw running game, which was working better earlier. Steve Hending, the freshman quarterback, calling signals for DePauw. Give on the counter play to Klein Schmidt, and he gets a couple. Middle of the Wabash defense.
Here's Billy Cannon now, the linebacker. Now, they play a pressure-type defense at Wabash. The linebackers must make the tackle. You see Billy change direction, get back in. That's great lateral move by Billy Cannon.
Leading tackler for Wabash, Kleinschmidt, 4 carries for 16 yards. Hending wants to go deep. Ball is underthrown. Wheatley had a shot at it. John Ruddy was the man, number 40, who came in and rushed the passer to force that throw. Randy Beach, 14, the intended receiver downfield, but the ball was underthrown.
Oh, Dave Wheatley almost got another one. As Frank Navarro said, he doesn't have much speed, not a lot of quickness. All he does is intercept and make the big play.
So Wyrick is back in punt formation for the 3rd time. He's had one partially blocked. This one he gets away cleanly. Off the side of his foot, though. And it will flutter to a relatively unsatisfactory conclusion somewhere around the 35-yard line. Bob Brigger, number 67, was there to down it. And Wabash has the ball when we return. The 15-yard line for Wabash, but now Mellinger is down on the sideline. He was hurt earlier in the ball game. Here's another look.
There it is, just again the veer option. They kick the ball out to their best running back, Randy Mellinger. He turns it up the sideline, but as you point out, he's hurt. He was hurt earlier, got back in the ball game, and again, he's a guy they must have playing in this football game.
Danny Whaley, number 41, who has come into the game despite his sore ankle, made the stop for DePauw, along with 63, Don Pogue, the linebacker. Mellinger limped off the field once earlier. He picked up 20 yards on that play, and now he is up, and 2 of the Wabash assistant coaches will be helping Mellinger off the field. So while they deal with Randy Mellinger, we'll leave, and we'll be back in a moment with Wabash in possession. We have no score between Wabash and DePauw, but Wabash now threatening for the first time. We'll try to tell you as quickly as possible the degree of the injury to Randy Mellinger. Right now, he has been replaced in the offensive backfield by Dave Galloway. Penalty flag goes down as Tom Conway had the football, and Relford, number 72, knocked him down. Personal foul call against DePauw, and that will move the ball half the distance to the goal line, which will take it inside the 10-yard line. Here's another look at the late hit.
Well, that's Tim Sellers, and you know, you're over anxious. He wants to win this football game. He's all revved up, and he saw the ball laying there in the quarterback, and he just was beside himself.
Actually, the fake was to Conway. I misled you by saying Conway had the football. It was Harvey. So now, first down, goal to go, inside the 10 at the 8-yard line. Check it, it's second down. This time the give is to Conway, and he gets only a yard or so before Joe Trimble, number 56, made the stop for DePauw.
Boy, and Jim, that Joe Trimble really came up there and laid one on him. That was a big hit.
The penalty moved the ball inside the 10, but did not make it first down. It was second down 4. There was no gain on that play. It is now third down. 4 yards to go for a first down at the 7-yard line. Wabash needs to get the ball to about the 3. Harvey has a hold. falls forward to near the 3-yard line, and he is in first down territory. Whether or not he has it, we will wait to see. Jerry Hammond, number 16, made the tackle for DePauw. First down, first and goal to go for Wabash as they continue with the first scoring opportunity of the game, set up by a short punt of only 15 yards by Wyrick of DePauw, and then a 20-yard run by Randy Mellinger. Harvey at quarterback. Setbacks are Galloway and Conway. Harvey comes right, had a hole for a moment, he ducks in and is hit. And the fumble is recovered by DePauw. Number 63, dancing up and down with the football, is Don Pogue, the linebacker. He came up with it. The hit was made by Hammond along with Sellers. Our check at Frank Hoffman, 84, replacing Sellers. The third Wabash turnover of the game, and you'll see Dave Harvey.
Here's there now. Dave Harvey takes the ball out. He turns it up, but he's hit pretty well in there. Fumbles the ball. Big play for DePauw.
First down now at the 1-yard line for the Tigers of DePauw, and Hending falls forward trying to get a little extra yardage. Some room to operate. Wabash kicking away a scoring opportunity on the fumble by Harvey at the goal line. Same backfield for DePauw. Quarterback is Hending. Running backs are Trulask and Kleinschmidt. Hending giving off this time to Kleinschmidt. He is met right at the line of scrimmage by Kennedy, number 71. And he falls forward for a couple. It will be third down, 7 yards to go from about the 4-yard line. We mentioned that if Wabash wins this football game, they will, in all likelihood, it is certainly not definite, be invited to the Division III playoffs. I wonder if they might be looking ahead a bit, Coach Forzano.
Oh, I think that's kind of tough. This is a big ball game. They're not looking ahead to anything.
Third down now, 7. Hending going outside. He's met immediately on the option play and brought down by Lance Richardson, number 81. Once again, it'll be a punting situation for DePauw, and Wyrick will go back. He has kicked the ball 3 times, averaging only 25 yards, and Jerome Baldwin, number 44, has been in there next to him every time. He's already blocked one of them. Baldwin will be coming from the left side. Wyrick right at the end line. He's never going to get it away. Scramble for the football. Looks like the black shirt is on it. Officials have decided to call it a safety now. Number 36, Kleinschmidt, made the alert play and got on the football for DePauw, saving a touchdown, but it's a safety and Wabash goes in front 2-0. Let's take another look at Wyrick.
Number 44, Jerome Baldwin, that's the person. He's got a knack of blocking punts. There he is. As a matter of fact, the whole Wabash team, and that's what they thrive on. They blocked something like 10 punts in 1976. They're that type. That's Frank Navarro's type of kicking game. He wants to put the pressure on the opposing punter, and he certainly has today.
Kleinschmidt had been back there as the blocker protecting Wyrick. He was in position to fall on the football and keep Wabash from recovering, thereby saving the touchdown. So it'll be a free kick now for DePauw from their 20-yard line, and Wabash goes on top in the game 2-0. There is a look at Jerome Baldwin from Valdosta, Georgia, who has had his hands on the football today.
You know, Jim, that's something in football. When you coach, you're always looking for a guy who has that knack, to block the punt. Now, that doesn't mean that he's fast, extremely fast or anything. He wants to block it. He has that intuitive feeling. He can do it. Jerome Baldwin's that guy.
Free kick is done from placement by Frazier. He gets it up in the air, but short. Taken on the dead run by Barry. Past the 40-yard line, he's knocked down at about the 47. Scott Thompson, the Tiger man, was there to make the stop for DePauw, so Wabash will start with the football at their own 47-yard line. Immediately following the conclusion of this game, we will join in progress our national telecast of Oklahoma's Sooners at home playing the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado, which went to the Orange Bowl a year ago, against Oklahoma, which seems headed toward the Orange Bowl this year, but only if they can beat Colorado and Nebraska in these remaining 2 weeks. Barry on the reverse. Flag is down. Tackle is made by Trimble on the play.
Have a motion penalty down there against Wabash, Jim.
Officials conferring with the DePauw captains. Number 22, Scott Fensick, the corner, declines the penalty, so they will take the play, which was a pickup of about 2 by Barry. It will be 2nd down 8 for Wabash. Ball at the 48-yard line. Scott Fensick, number 22, is the brother of Gary Fensick, former Yale standout who is now starting defensive back in the NFL for the Chicago Bears. Dave Galloway, 45, still in the game, replacing Mellinger. Screen pass now is to Conway. Couple of blockers in front. He gets across the DePauw 45 and down to about the 43-yard line. Scott Thompson, the Tiger man, there to make the play.
Jim, this drive is awfully important to DePauw because they are going against the wind right now. If they can hold this thing off and get the wind at their backs, they could have an advantage in the second quarter. Big series here for DePauw.
First down for Wabash. We'll check Harvey's statistics for you. That completion may have been his first of the game. Yes, he's 1 of 4 for 9 yards. Pitch out to Galloway. He has no room. Met at the line of scrimmage by Fensick, and he falls forward for a gain of about a yard.
Harvey's pitch to number 35, Galloway.
Jim, Wabash is doing something a little different. They're going to an unbalanced line, which they hadn't shown before, and they're trying to get that DePauw defense to overshift and then try to come back to the weak side. That time they went strong, but look for them to come back weak against the unbalanced line.
Martin is split to the left, 2 receivers to the right side. Pressure on Harvey. He gets rid of the football just as he is blasted to the turf. Number 22, Scott Fensick, came in, as did number 84, Hoffman.
That's Scott Fensick. He's a hitter just like his brother Gary, Jim. I'll tell you, he'll come out there and knock your head off.
Second, it was 82, Jeff Steele, defensive end, who came along with Hoffman. It was not 22 Fensick, he was back defending, but Steele, who rushed the passer along with Hoffman. Dave Harvey has now thrown 5 times, so he has broken an individual season record for passing attempts for Wabash. Harvey can break a number of Wabash records during the game today, and we'll try to keep track of them. This pass is picked off. Another turnover, the 4th turnover of the game, as once again Don Pogue, number 63, the man who recovered the Harvey fumble at the goal line earlier, is now the man who makes the pickoff. So, the interception by Pogue, the return to exactly midfield to the 50-yard line, and DePauw gets out of bad field position into control of the football right at the end of the first quarter, 1:15 remaining. 4 turnovers in the first quarter for Wabash.
I'll tell you, Harvey's had some bad days against this DePauw football team.
Hending's pass down the right side is out of bounds.
Last year, as you'll remember, Harvey threw 3 interceptions, and already now they've had 4 turnovers, so they're going to have to put that offense together for Wabash because they just keep giving that same encouragement to DePauw. Here it is. Now, here's Hending now, rolling out, throwing. There it is. Out of bounds. 1 foot out of bounds. Oh, geez, tough break.
The intended receiver was Dean Hadley, the split end, number 87. Hending cutting inside on the option play on 2nd down. Lance Richardson, number 81, there to stop him for Wabash. Gain of a yard at most, and now it will be 3rd down and another passing situation for DePauw. Call it 3rd down 8, call it a pickup of 2 for Hending. Richardson, 81, has already been in on several tackles for Wabash. Division III football, no athletic scholarships. All of these people are legitimate, qualified, excellent students. Ball loose and almost intercepted. Intended receiver was Randy Veach. It was number 18, Mel Gore, who batted the ball into the air, then danced with it for a moment and couldn't come down with it. And we'll take another look Here's Beach.
There again, here's Beach at the end of the play. He's curling inside, signaling for the football. There's Gore, comes up, makes a nice play to make the interception, to attempt to make the interception, excuse me.
Punter now, Wyrick, this time he's going to throw. He's got a wide open receiver, and he drops the football. Number 42 is Mike Wiedek, the defensive back, who was downfield to try to catch the pass from Wyrick. Wyrick lofted the ball in the air. He didn't throw it with a whole lot of authority, but in all honesty, the ball was there, and Wiedek probably should have been able to catch this one.
Oh, what a great call. Oh, agony. My gosh. Oh, he will never forget that drop. I promise you that. Neither will his coach.
No specialists in this game, though. Wiedek's got to go back and play defense right now. He's got to get his head straight and try to stop the Wabash offense, as Wiedek is at the left corner. So, 1st and 10 for Wabash. Dave Harvey wants to capitalize right now. Going deep, and that ball was intercepted all the way. Dan Whaley, number 41, with his 6th interception of the season, falls down at about the 2-yard line. The 5th turnover for Wabash. And Whaley was back there in position like a center fielder. Harvey practically threw the ball to him.
He sure did. And you know, I was talking to a young student here just before the ball game, and he said, hey, anything happens in this ball game, they can have turnovers, they can have fumbles, and you've seen it all. And each time that Harvey throws an interception, it kind of oozes down his confidence the next time he's under the center.
He has got to be frustrated. That was the 5th Wabash turnover, 1 fumble, 4 interceptions. On 1st down from the 5-yard line, Tim Kennedy, number 71, makes the stop on Hinding, and there you see the clock running out. That play will end the 1st quarter. So, at the end of 1 quarter of play in the battle for the Monon Bell, Wabash leads DePauw 2-0. We'll be back. The story of a crazy 1st quarter, 5 turnovers for Wabash.
3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Oh, wow.
That is a correction. I said 4 interceptions. It's 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles, but Dave Harvey has to be a very frustrated man. Hinding turns straight around, throws the ball out to Beach. He gets away from 1 man and gets back to a line of scrimmage and maybe a yard or 2 more. Bill Cannon, number 59, outstanding linebacker for Wabash, reacted well to that far side to make the stop. And now let's watch Bill Cannon.
Watch him, number 59, to the right of your screen. He has good mobility, good quickness, and they count on their linebackers to make the tackles. There he is, coming all the way from the inside to make the tackle almost out of bounds.
He had help over there. Wabash is a gang tackling team on defense. Wabash, as we said, probably the quicker of the 2 teams, and the one with the most to play for today. An 8-1 record, hopes of finishing 9-1 and going into the Division III playoffs. Wide world of sports. Immediately following the Prudential College scoreboard, which will follow the Oklahoma-Colorado game, United States versus Cuba boxing championships. We'll talk about it in a moment. 3rd down. Hinding still with the football. John Ruddy, the Giant, number 40, there to make the stop, along with a host of other Wabash tacklers. Incidentally, number 81, Lance Richardson, the defensive end for Wabash, was in on 6 tackles in that 1st quarter. Now, I mentioned Wide World of Sports. Today at 5 o'clock Eastern Pacific, 4 o'clock Central Time on ABC. That means 4 o'clock here. Well, actually, it means 5 o'clock in part of Indiana. The national boxing teams from Cuba and the United States going against each other. Again, the punt is blocked. And this time, Richardson and another group of Wabash players falling on it in the end zone. Baldwin was there to block it. Flags are down. The penalty is an illegal procedure, which is going to be declined. Now, number 21, Ernie Boyd, was the man who was back to kick the ball this time for DePauw as they changed punters. Wyrick was not doing it. And let's take another look.
Here it again, that Wabash pressure. There's number 44, Jerome Baldwin again, right there, hands on the football. Touchdown in spite of 5 turnovers for Wabash. Here they are now with a touchdown on their hands with a possibility of going ahead 9-0.
Well, now there'll be a timeout to delay the extra point for a moment. Baldwin's 3rd blocked kick of the game. Actually 4 if you want to count the one that Wyrick never got off in the end zone at the opposite end of the field. There's Coach Bob Bergman. He told us yesterday his regular punter, Dan Whaley, has been bothered with an injured right ankle and cannot punt. They've been trying Wyrick. They've had a stopwatch on him to see if they felt he was going to be able to get the ball off quickly enough. They thought that he would. He demonstrated on his first 4 or 5 kicks today that he was not going to get the ball off quickly enough. That time they tried Boyd, Ernie Boyd, 21, a reserve defensive back, and he did not get the punt off either. Place kicker for Wabash is Tony Barrack, number 23. His drive for the extra point is good. And with timeout on the field and 14-14 to go in the second quarter, Wabash has taken a 9-0 lead. And DePauw will be trying to come back when we return. It's 9-0 Wabash. Jerome Baldwin, number 44, 5'10" 170-pound senior for Wabash. He's from Valdosta, Georgia. He's already been involved in 4 block kicks today. He blocked that one and got credit for the touchdown. Baldwin, they say, is the man who fell on the ball in the end zone for Wabash. Richardson was there along with him. But Baldwin gets credit for the touchdown and gives Wabash the 9-0 lead. Potts kicking to Kleinschmidt and Borsellino, and this will be Borsellino taking the ball past the 20, across the 30 now to the 35-yard line. A flag is down, so we'll see what the official call will be.
I believe Wabash was offsides on the kickoff. I'm not sure, Jim, but it looks that way to me.
DePauw will have the choice of taking the penalty or taking the football and starting from the 33, well, call it the 33.5-yard line, to which Borsellino returned the ball.
He's not going to kick any better than that, Coach.
And they decline the penalty. Start with the football at the 33-yard line. First quarter statistics were rather startling in a few respects. My favorite one is this. Wabash rolled up more yardage and have 5 first downs to only 1 for DePauw. Kleinschmidt gets nowhere on the first play for DePauw. Kennedy again making the stop. Wabash had 5 first downs to only 1 for DePauw in the first half, and of course Wabash had considerably more total yards, 73 to 37. Yet DePauw had the ball for over 9 minutes, and Wabash had it for only 5 minutes and 47 seconds. That's because when Wabash had the football, they were gaining yardage, but then giving the ball back as quickly as possible. The 5 turnovers, the story of the first quarter. Split receiver to the left is Beach. Kleinschmidt and Trulask in the backfield. Trulask fumbles the ball, gets it back, loses 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down. Kennedy, 71, a 6'2", 213-pound sophomore from Indianapolis who's been in on a host of plays already, was there once again. Frank Navarro. Right now he's got to be frustrated with the way his offense has operated, but he's got a 9-0 lead.
All he says is, hey, no more turnovers. We can win the football game, no more turnovers.
3rd down, 15 yards to go. Hending gets the ball away, and it's off the hands of number 81, the intended receiver, Bob Dolan, the tight end. Bill Cannon, number 59, was in quickly to rush Hending. And now Wyrick comes back into the game, and he will punt this time for DePauw. Wyrick gets it away off the side of his foot, and it's going to bounce dead inside the 45 at about the 43-yard line for Wabash. The Little Giants will start with the football from there. Joe Atria was there to down the ball for DePauw. 26-yard punt for Wyrick. Monday Night Football this Monday. The St. Louis Cardinals versus the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Dorsett and Roger Staubach versus St. Louis with Jim Hart and Wayne Morris. Morris, who had 182 yards last week, one of the more rapidly improving running backs in the NFL. And of course, St. Louis and Dallas, a great rivalry on Monday Night Football, going back to the time when St. Louis pasted the Cowboys 38-0 to the utter chagrin of Dandy Don Meredith. Randy Mellinger had the carry, and Guy Relford made the stop.
Just to get back to that Wayne Morris, so that when you can make 182 yards, baby, against those Vikes defenses, that's going to be a great game on Monday night, I'll tell you.
Just been handed a first quarter score. Notre Dame leading Clemson 7-0 down in Death Valley, South Carolina. Mellinger fumbles the pitch, picks it back up, but he's knocked down by several DePauw tacklers. Trimble and Terry Smith, 56 and 79, were the first 2 men to get there. And we'll take another look at the hit.
Here it is now. There's the penetration. There's the hit on Harvey. I'll tell you, he couldn't see that man coming to his outside. He kicked the ball out too late. He should have probably kept that football.
Third down, 14 yards to go for Wabash. Mellinger must not be seriously hurt because he has been back in the ball game on this series. Conway's got running room up the right side on the screen. Gets away from two men, and now he's all alone. Tom Conway goes down the right side, 59 yards. The Wabash offense gets untracked. And now it's 15-0.
I'll tell you, when you keep giving encouragement to DePauw like Wabash did, and DePauw didn't take advantage of it, this is exactly what happens now. They throw that screen out to Tom Conway, 6 more points.
Tony Barrett kick up straight through, and it is 16-0 now. Wabash leading. So, with 11 minutes, 34 seconds remaining in the second quarter, the Little Giants of Wabash with a more than 2 touchdown lead. DePauw figuring how to come back. Scoring drive for Wabash, 3 plays, 59 yards. It took only a minute, 14 seconds. Dave Harvey beginning to roll up a little bit of passing yardage and try to approach some of those records that he can break today. He already holds most of the school season and career total offense and passing records at Wabash. Curt Cox will be kicking off for the Little Giants. Deep to receive are Borsellino and Kleinschmidt. Borsellino takes it inside the 15. Number 13, Randy Weissel made the stop. Now let's look at the downfield blocking on this touchdown for Conway.
Here's 62 Summers, makes a good block. Conway use it. Now there's a peel back block. I can't tell the number right now, but he comes number 84, Mick Martin, that great tight end for him, and all Conway has to do is just move it down the sideline for 6.
Ending still at quarterback for DePauw. Give is to Lou Borsellino in the game, replacing Kleinschmidt at tailback. David Patton, the nose guard, made the stop for Wabash. Pickup of 1 yard at the most, and it will be 2nd down 9. Steve Trulast, number 46, now out of the ball game, replaced by Borsellino. So it's Borsellino in for Trulast rather than for Kleinschmidt. Kleinschmidt remains in the backfield alongside him. Ending trying to give the ball off to Kleinschmidt. Kleinschmidt was well ahead of him. Handoff never took place. Fumble recovery by Wabash. John Ruddy, number 40, the monster man, or the giant, as they call him in that Wabash defense, there to recover the football.
The ball carrier never had much of a chance on that. He didn't quite get the football on that. That's DePauw's first turnover, even though they're down 16 to zip.
From the Tiger 20-yard line.
So it's 1st and 10 at the 19 now for Dave Harvey and the Wabash Little Giants. Once again, he's going to the air on 1st down. Open receiver in the end zone. Harvey didn't get it there quick enough. Interference will be the call. Number 83, sprint in Greg Cosman. Jerry Hammond was the man, number 16, who hit him for DePauw. Now watch Cosman in the right corner of the end zone.
Well, here's Harvey on a bootleg action. This is their misdirection. He throws the ball, but what happens, Scott Fitzik, I believe, is the guy that turns his back, does not see the football. It's kind of number 42, not 22, excuse me, pass interference.
That is Mike Wiedek, number 42, who was guilty of the interference. Ball is put down on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal for Wabash. Now timeout is called by DePauw. Tigers want to come over and talk to Coach Bob Bergman. And mistakes are hurting DePauw at this point, as the interference in the end zone was avoidable. Really, the ball was not thrown that well. Defensive back simply had lost contact with the receiver and didn't have a chance to turn around and see where the ball was.
And that's actually what happens a lot of times on that play, Jim. They do lose sight of the ball, and it's usually a ball that's undershot, and what happens, it hits the guy in the back, he's in the line of the football, and there it hurts him.
There's Dave Harvey talking to Coach Frank Navarro. Navarro spent 11 years at Williams College in Massachusetts, 5 years as an assistant, then 6 as a head coach. Went from there to Columbia, where he was head coach for 4 years and coached another great quarterback, Marty Domries. And from Columbia, he came here to Wabash.
Well, Frank is strictly a class guy, a very learned football coach, very well respected. And the big thing that he's always had the reputation of being able to do is to use his personnel in the right places. He's one of these people who can fit his personnel to his offense and his defense. A fine football coach.
He had some interesting things to say to us yesterday about the role of a head coach at a Division III school. We'll talk about them later. Touchdown, Randy Mellinger. Mellinger goes into the end zone on first down, and so now Wabash stretches the lead to 22-0. We'll take another look at the leap over the top by Mellinger.
All Mellinger does, again, he smells that end zone. He's got 11 touches. This is his 12th touchdown. He's just a straight handoff. He wants those 6 points.
Well, we weren't lying to you. There is a tradition for close, low-scoring contests. Not since 1963 has one team won by more than 2 touchdowns in this game. Only once in the last 20 years has one side scored more than 3 touchdowns. But today, that precedent is going to be in serious difficulty unless DePauw can turn things around rather radically. Right now, it's 22-0. Wabash will be attempting to add the point to make it 23-0. Guy Relford, number 72, the outstanding sophomore defensive tackle from Carmel, Indiana, who has been a bulwark in that DePauw defensive line, is now being helped off the field. Apparently a knee injury or ankle injury of some sort. He's carrying the left leg lifelessly next to him. Tony Barrack kicking the extra point. His kick is up and good, and now the lead becomes 23-0. The Wabash Little Giants trying to move on to the Division III playoffs and rolling up a big lead early on DePauw.
Well, you know, Jim, when you see a ball game like this, when you're coaching a 1-8 team like DePauw, you say the thing that can help us win this football game, because we are the underdog, would be the kicking game. But it's been a turnabout of that. Actually, the kicking game has been the thing that has turned it around from Wabash, and DePauw did not need that. But I don't know what they can do here, because their offense has not moved the football. I'm talking about DePauw has not moved it all year. They've only scored 8 touchdowns. They've got to have something now. They've got to get a drive going. They've got to get a long pass for a touch to get back in this ball game right now, or they're going to go in at the halftime an awfully discouraged group of young men.
So Curt Cox will kick off once again for Wabash. He asks for the football to be moved to the right hash mark. It is. Wind blowing somewhat right to left from his vantage point. All around the field, people standing, dancing, talking with each other. Students from these 2 schools just 27 miles apart. A lot of contact between the 2 student bodies throughout the year. A lot of Wabash men come down the road to date DePauw girls. So I'm told. That always makes for healthy rivalry. Short kick. The short man is Saracen. He takes the football out across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Stick with us. At the end of this football game, we will go immediately to join in progress the Colorado-Oklahoma game in Norman, Oklahoma. The Sooners, who are ranked 3rd in the nation, only unbeaten team within Big 8 conference play, trying to maintain that unblemished record against Colorado Buffaloes, who are an awesomely big team. Bigger across the front line defensively and offensively than almost any pro team, I think. Hending gives off, and Borsellino gets away to the outside. He's got a first down across the 50 and into Wabash territory before Lance Richardson chased him down.
But Borsellino gave a great individual effort. He went in on a straight handoff. There was nothing there. He took it back to his left side, got 14 big yards for them. That's their biggest offensive play of the ball game.
This ball game was close until the second quarter. In the first 4 minutes and 13 seconds of the second quarter, Wabash has racked up 3 touchdowns, and that made the difference 23-0, which it is right now. Hending with the fake, good throw over the middle. Well, it's a little short. Intended for number 81, the tight end Dolan. Chuck Fisher, number 63, defensive tackle was in to rush Hinding for Wabash.
I'd look for him to come back with that, Jim, just a little pop pass to either his tight end or his flanker, because what happens on the run, Wabash really converges to the line of scrimmage, and his two receivers are open, so he may come back to that.
Coach Bergman's hope that Hinding would get the passing game going has not materialized as yet. Right now he's 2 of 10 for only 7 yards. Second down 10. Ball at the 49. Hinding under a lot of pressure, lofts the ball up in the air, and it'll be picked off by Gore. Now Gore goes to the far side of the field, and there he's going to run into trouble. Knocked down at about the 44-yard line. Bill Cannon, number 59, got in with a terrific pass rush on Hinding. He had no chance to throw the ball to an open receiver. He simply lofted it downfield. Gore was there to pick it off easily, and he got back for about a 10-yard return before Lockhart knocked him down. Bill Lockhart, an offensive tackle for DePauw, making the tackle. We mentioned one score earlier. We told you that Notre Dame has a 7-0 first quarter lead over Clemson.
It's a difficult situation for a coach like Bob Bergman. Here he is down 23-0. He's got to get his football team inspired to make a big play right here.
Mellinger already has 39 yards in the game. This time he gets the call and gets nowhere. Excellent play in the middle of that DePauw defense. Terry Smith, number 79, wrapped his arms around it.
Jim, I would imagine right now Bob Bergman is probably thinking a little bit about, should he make a change at quarterback? Should he sit around, or should he give the guy another series? There's Bob Bergman right there. Right now, I think I'd have to make a change. I'd go with Rich Bowling, personally, because he's got a lot of career records, and he seemed to be a guy that could put him in the end zone.
The quarterback for most of the year has been Tim Werner, a sophomore from Michigan City. He was benched today in favor of Hinding. Harvey's throw downfield in and out of the hands of Mick Martin. Hammond was back there to defend, along with number 45, Al Smith. Rich Bowling, as Coach Forzano mentioned, he's the man who holds some DePauw passing records. He was expected to be the starter coming into this year. He is number 12, the man on your right of the screen. 11 is Werner, who's been the quarterback for most of the year. Bowling, according to Bergman, was not quick enough to run the veer adequately at the start and has never really adapted well to the veer offense. Havlick's punt is picked up by Kleinschmidt. Kleinschmidt moving to the left. He's knocked out of bounds back of the 20-yard line. 35-yard punt for Pavlik. Knopfsinger made the stop downfield. Kleinschmidt's return only 2 or 3 yards. And let's see who the quarterback is for DePauw. As they come back on the field, it's still going to be Hinding.
They're going to go with Steve Hinding there. They're going to stay with him, which is all right, because he feels, hey, maybe I'll give him that one more series. But Bowling, to me, has all the career records. They're going to have to get back in the ball game. They're going to have to throw it to get back in the game, and Bowling might be the guy.
Rich Bowling, a senior from Elkhart, Indiana, still on the bench. Hinding still the quarterback. Given to the middle to Borsellino. David Patton, the nose guard. Mike O'Quinn, the linebacker, there to hit him. O'Quinn is 55, Patton is 53. And it will be second down. Let's call it 9 yards to go for the Tigers of DePauw. Loose football, and they're going to call it a live ball. Fumble is recovered by Wabash. You can see Hinding immediately getting up to express his displeasure to the official. Tim Kennedy, number 71, along with Bill Cannon, were there to make the hit and loosen the football. It was Kennedy, 71, who fell on it, recovering for Wabash, and we'll take another look.
Here is Steve Hinding. He's coming out around the sprint out. He's got room, and he does something that you tell quarterbacks not to do. When you're going to turn it up and run it. I would think he was down. I don't think that should have been a fumble.
Cannon was the man who really made the pop and separated Hinding from the football. Mellinger slips and falls down as Hammond comes up to hit him. What an inspired game Jerry Hammond is playing today.
Well, I'll tell you, he's going to take that Monon ball. He and Bell, he and Jerome Baldwin, they're going to take it to their room.
DePauw is catching up in turnovers now. They now have 3 to go with Wabash's 5. There on the screen, number 71, Tim Kennedy, the man who made the fumble recovery. We never did give credit to Nossinger on that play. 86, the defensive end, Nossinger from Anderson, Indiana, was there along with Cannon. He was chasing Hending out of the backfield. Harvey throwing downfield to Martin, good catch. Hammond hit him as soon as the ball was there, but Martin held on inside the 15. Scott Finsick was also there. It was Jerry Hammond who really popped Martin. And the ball will be just about a yard short of the first down at the 14-yard line.
Well, that Mick Martin, he has good moves off the line of scrimmage, and he can catch the ball in the crowd. He has great concentration on the football. Jerry Hammond was right there and hit him just as he caught the ball, but he held on to it. The sign of a good tight end, a good receiver.
Third completion for Harvey in the game. He's now 3 of 10 for 81 yards. On third down and 2, he gives the football right up the middle of Mellinger, who goes over the top. It looks to me as though Mellinger has the first down. Terry Smith, Eric Eichholz, the middle of the defensive line, there for DePauw. One Ivy League score, Dartmouth leading Penn 3-0 in the first quarter, and in the second quarter now, Michigan State still on top of Northwestern, 10-3. First downs in the ball game, DePauw has 2, and Wabash has 7. As they measure for the first down. And it is a first down for Wabash. A lot of traditional rivalries taking place around the country at every level of college football. This great game for the Monon Bell. Our producer, Rick Lasavita, himself a Harvard man, practically couldn't eat breakfast this morning in anticipation of watching the scores come in from the Harvard-Yale game. Harvey rolling right into the end zone, tipped into the air.
Interception.
And it's going to be picked off. Loose ball is picked off by Scott Finsick, number 22. Hammond was also there, but it was Finsick this time who came away with the football, and that is the 4th interception of the game for the DePauw defense. The DePauw defensive backfield holding its own.
Here it is, that bootleg again. They use their quarterback as their misdirection. He's got a man free in the end zone. There it is. But what happens, there's a defender steps in front. He was just late on the throw. The ball is tipped up and intercepted by Scott Finsick.
In defense of some of the receivers who are having difficulty holding on to the ball, this is a cold, brittle day in Greencastle, and it is hard to catch the football when your hands are cold. As Randy Beach demonstrated right there. Beach had the ball, Mel Gore hit him, and Beach coughed it up. It's an incompleted pass.
Boy, I'll tell you, Jim, this is unbelievable to have that many turnovers in a football game and still be ahead 23-0.
6:36 remaining in the second quarter. At halftime, you'll see the marching band of DePauw University, followed by several hijinks. I'm told that they fight on the field at halftime here. I'm not going to believe that until I see it. Pass over the middle, complete. Fumbled but recovered. Dolan made the catch. Mel Gore hit him. Dolan popped, or the ball popped out of Dolan's hands, and then 43, Jay True, was there to fall on the ball for DePauw, and it is a first down for the Tigers of DePauw. So Hending throws a good pass for the completion to Dolan.
They're going to have to do more of that, Jim. They're going to have to put the ball in the air. They're going to have to take some chances now. Heck, 23-0. You get on the scoreboard, you're back in the game, and you're ready to go at the halftime.
Well, yesterday, Coach Bob Bergman told us that his plan was to try to move that Wabash monster man around and hit the tight end with quick pops into the monster's area. Hending gets away from 2 men and picks up about 6 yards, going straight up the middle.
And you know, this is what Hending needs. He needs a little bit of confidence in here right now to move the ball down, throwing the ball, running in a little bit. It'll improve. It might be a great move for Bob Bergman to keep Hending in there.
Second down, 4 yards to go for DePauw. Hending starting to get some confidence, as Rick Forzano said. Good cut inside on the near. And he has a first down at midfield. Mike O'Quinn, linebacker, number 55 from Centerburg, Ohio. There along with Tom Weber from Lafayette, Indiana. they made the stop as you look at the Monon Bell, the 350-pound trophy, which goes to the winning team in this football game and has gone to the winning team ever since 1932. As I said, Thursday evening I arrived here. I was taken over to the campus at Wabash. They took me into the athletic building to see the bell. Some students were guarding it, and they were very skeptical of my identity as a television commentator. They said, now really, aren't you a student from DePauw trying to steal that bell?
I think you're just trying to make yourself feel good there, Jim. A student at Wabash or DePauw.
Yeah, I know. Hending kept the football and was knocked down by O'Quinn. It's a pickup of 4. Stranger things have happened, though. You know, as you read, several years ago, a student from Wabash came down here to DePauw disguised as a member of the Mexican embassy, or a representative from the Mexican embassy, asked if he could see the bell, was shown the bell in its hiding place here on the DePauw campus, and it disappeared that night into the possession of the Wabash student body. Thus far today, we haven't seen anybody trying to make off with the Monon bell. And at 350 pounds, not too many people want to try. Hending is under pressure, gets the ball away down the middle of the field, picked off. Number 42, Tom Weber with the ball. Weber gets away from 2 men. Flag is thrown in midfield as Weber is knocked down in DePauw territory at about the 47-yard line. We'll wait to see what the penalty is. 85, Pat Wilkins, a reserve tight end, was there to make the stop.
I believe that was a clip on the interception, but still Wabash will still end up with a football.
So here's another look. Hending once again gets tremendous pressure from the right side. Ruddy the Monster Man was there.
He was trying to go to his tight end, but his tight end had a tough time getting off the line of scrimmage. He just threw the ball up there for grabs, interception.
And Weber, who was a running back on the state Class A championship team at Lafayette Catholic High School last year, showed some of that skill as he moved up the sideline with the interception. You know, you always got to know how to use those clips, right? Set up the clips and use them. Harvey rolling left, he's going to be hit, and he gets away. Finally falls to the turf. It was Albert Mazzata, sophomore defensive tackle, number 77, who got to Harvey and wrestled with him for a moment, and then Harvey stumbled forward. So call it a sack for Mazzata, and the ball is at the 30-yard line. Most of these players are from the state of Indiana, but both schools have a somewhat cosmopolitan flavor. You see people from Baltimore, Maryland, Valdosta, Georgia, and elsewhere. Conway gets a couple of yards. Ike Holtz, number 78, was there to hit him. And while we have a moment, some scores of other games in the second quarter now at Clemson. Notre Dame leading the Clemson Tigers 7-3. That could be a very tough football game for the Irish. Clemson is 7-1-1. They tied North Carolina last week. North Carolina State leading Duke 10-0. And in the first quarter now, Purdue with a 7-0 lead on Michigan. We will keep you posted on that one. Ellington gets away from 2 tacklers and gets back to the original line of scrimmage near the 37-yard line. Joe Trimble and Terry Smith making the tackle for DePauw. It brings up a punting situation. And with the clock running and just over 3 minutes remaining in the first half, John Pavlik, number 82, 37-yard kicker, will go back to punt for Wabash. Deep to receive is, well, the short man is Fensick, and the deep man is Tom Kleinschmidt. This kick will go deep to Kleinschmidt. He takes it inside his 20. Gets one very good block. Gets away from 2 men on his own and gets the ball out to about the 25-yard line. It was a 45-yard punt for Pavlik. John Rust, number 72, made the stop, and we'll be back with DePauw in possession. Years ago, the Little Giants of Wabash received their nickname because they consistently went up and played well against teams with bigger players, bigger schools. Wabash, an institution of only 850 men, when they begin fall practice, more than 10% of the student body is out for football. And the Little Giants right now have a big lead, 23-0 over DePauw. Kleinschmidt met behind the line of scrimmage by Weber. It'll be a loss of about 3 or 4 yards. And the DePauw offense continues to have its difficulty as the clock keeps moving.
Well, Wabash just has a lot of quickness. Now watch Cannon, number 59, on your right side. We'll get back to that, but their quickness is a thing that is hurting the DePauw offense.
Hending dropping back. This time he gets some time. Throws in the middle of the field, and it's picked off. This time it's Gore with the football down the right side. The 11th turnover of the football game, and Gore gets inside the 15 down to about the 12-yard line. Hending made the stop. It'll be another scoring opportunity for Wabash.
Oh, I'll tell you, this is a tough situation to be in. You know, he was pressured there. He's young. He puts the ball up into the air. It's picked off again. Again, that quickness of the Wabash defense just proves its point right there.
First quarter score, Pittsburgh's Panthers with Matt Cavanaugh at the helm, leading Army 7-0. I can't tell if this is Brown nothing, Columbia nothing, or Brown 6, Columbia nothing. We'll check it. It is a 6. Brown 6, Columbia nothing in the first quarter. Princeton leading Cornell 7-0, and Syracuse leading Boston College by the same score. On the first play, Conway gets the football, and he gets inside the 5 to about the 3-yard line before Whaley makes the stop for DePauw.
Here it is now. It's that straight handoff. You can see, boy, they've got a nice little opening in there created by the left side. He does a great job, Conway, of cutting back. That's something he can do. He has great ball awareness, hole awareness. He can move the ball.
Wabash offensive line, Bert Lekarchik at left tackle, Jeff Summers at guard, Tom Madrowski at center, Rick Windhorn at right guard, Dave Minnack at right tackle. Ball is loose, and DePauw has recovered the football. Ray Morita, number 73, reserve defensive tackle, was there as Harvey coughed the football up inside the 5-yard line. Don Pogue, a linebacker, number 63, also in on the play, and for the second time today, Dave Harvey has given away a scoring opportunity inside the DePauw 5-yard line. And for the third time today, Pogue forces the turnover. He recovers a fumble. For the second time, he also had an interception, and now DePauw has a new quarterback in the football game. That will be number 11, Werner, who replaces Hending. Werner goes straight ahead to get a couple yards of breathing room. Well, we speculated on whether it would be Bowling or Werner. It is Tim Werner, 5'11", 185-pound sophomore from Michigan City. He's completed only 33% of his passes coming into this game. So I guess it's fair to say he's a better runner than passer. And he's averaging only 1.9 yards per carry. I guess what Coach Bob Bergman wants him to bring to the offense at this point is some steadiness.
Well, Jim, I said Bowling, so you can see how right I've been all year long. So they're going with Werner.
Second down, 8 yards to go for the first down. Werner rolling into the end zone. Now he's got to get away from Ruddy. Releases the football, throws it into the hands of number 55, O'Quinn, but much to Werner's good fortune, O'Quinn could not handle the football as he went out of bounds, and it will go as an incompletion. We'll take another look at Tim Werner scrambling in the end zone.
Boy, I'll tell you, number one, to come out of there the first time out of the box and be running out of your end zone, running for your life, and then turning the ball upfield and almost having it intercepted. I'll tell you, that's a rude indoctrination.
For the first time today, number 37, Jay Pirtle, goes into the backfield. He is a 225-pound fullback. And let's see if he gets the football on third down and 8 for DePauw. He does get the ball. He gets out across the 10-yard line to about the 13. Clock running. 45 seconds remaining in the first half. Pirtle is short of the first down. Cannon and Kennedy made the stop for Wabash, and it's another kicking situation for DePauw. Very quickly, Indiana tied up with Ohio State, 7-7 in the first quarter. We mentioned earlier the first quarter score, Purdue leading Michigan 7-0. Maryland leads Richmond 10-7, and Georgia Tech is over Navy 7-3. DePauw with another punting situation, another chance to go back and try to face the onslaught of Jerome Baldwin, who has already had his hands on a variety of kicking efforts today. Baldwin is number 44, and he will be the man who will be trying to block this for Wabash. John Wyrick, who has been the punter on all but one punting effort for Wabash today, or for DePauw today. And as you can see, he is just beyond the goal line in the end zone. Baldwin, 44, is coming from the left. And Wyrick gets it away. Low kick is bouncing. They'll let it go. And DePauw's players down the football at the 39-yard line. At halftime, incidentally, we're going to have a videotape look at a spectacular performance by an interesting quarterback, Mark Wilson of Brigham Young, the young man who replaced Gifford Nielsen in the starting lineup for BYU and who last week set an all-time NCAA record for passing yardage in a single football game. We'll have highlights of that great effort by Wilson early in our halftime show, and also the DePauw band and halftime festivities from here at Blackstock. Harvey under a heavy rush. The first man there was Steele, the second man was Mazzotta, and they knock him down inside the 30 at about the 28-yard line.
Albert Mazzotta has played himself a good football game on defense. Matter of fact, the whole DePauw defense has played very well. It hasn't been their problem at all. They've done well enough for them to be in the football game.
Mazzotta is 220 pounds. When he lines up with Relford, they are at 220 and 230 against the Wabash offensive line that goes 195, 205, 210. So at the end of the first half, the smaller Little Giants from Wabash have a 23-0 lead over DePauw. And if they can maintain it through the second half, they may be on their way to the National Division III playoffs. We'll be back with our halftime show in just a moment. And DePauw holds an overall margin of 39 wins to 37 wins for Wabash, with 7 ties in the series. We arrived here Thursday. We've had an opportunity to visit both of these lovely campuses here in central Indiana. Up the road in Crawfordsville, and we stayed down here near Greencastle. And DePauw, a beautiful little co-ed liberal arts school, university. And let's have a look at the lovely campus here in Greencastle. Since 1837, DePauw University has been one of the nation's distinguished universities. Its beautiful residential setting in Greencastle, Indiana includes over 30 major buildings. An international reputation for excellence in private education is enhanced by a new $8 million Performing Arts Center and a new $7 million Science Center. A multi-million-dollar recreation complex will be built soon. DePauw's 2,400 young men and women study here in 23 academic departments, the School of Music and the School of Nursing. DePauw has its own study centers in Western Europe and in Greece. DePauw claims several firsts, including the first chapter of the nation's largest journalism society and Indiana's first chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. Nearly $3.5 million in scholarships, grants, and loans are available each year to outstanding students who want a DePauw education. DePauw University believes in the value of a liberal education, not just for a job, but for a lifetime of usefulness to society. Well, that must be the men of Wabash holding that banner, because they are the ones who have no girls to speak of. They do have, in Wendy Tucker, a female sports information director, a rarity, and she does a terrific job. A remarkable rarity that a female sports information director would exist at a school of 850 men. 850 men who can sound like 3,000 when they're in good voice and rooting for the Wabash Little Giants. They've been in good voice today here in the battle for the Monon Bell. Now let's listen as the DePauw Marching Band, with 70 students, 14 pom-poms, and 2 twirlers under the direction of Professor Dan Hanna, plays the DePauw Fight Song. DePauw fight song. The battle cry for the little school of 2,400 men and women here in Greencastle. Hit The Whiz, this is Ease On Down the Road. As we told you, hundreds of Wabash enthusiasts eased on down the road in a caravan from Crawfordsville before the game. They have been making most of the noise. The DePauw band will continue their halftime show with the stripper. They are going to get into the formation of a banana here and then symbolically peel the banana. You like it? I think it's kind of unique. Students on both sides of the field now getting out on the sidelines to prepare for the traditional pilgrimage to the middle of the field, where they meet, talk with each other. Banana peels firmly in place. The next song will be Sizzler. On the far side of the field, in the upper right-hand side of your screen, you may see a large congregation of students. Those are the students who are gathering around the Monon bell. Entitled The Sizzler. note that that is a tailless tiger. No doubt the DePauw mascot has lost his tail at some point earlier today. It's a prized possession on the Wabash campus. The Wabash DePauw game is being brought to you by all the new 1978 Chevrolets, now at your Chevrolet dealers everywhere. By Goodyear, the makers of Tiempo steel-belted radials, a new kind of tire for every kind of weather. Keep it on season after season. By Black & Decker. When America has a job to do, it reaches for Black & Decker. And by STP, for people who know how to take care of a car. Now a word from the National Collegiate Athletic Association. We're at halftime in Blackstock Stadium in Greencastle, Indiana. Halftime score, Wabash 23, DePauw nothing. I'm Jim Lampley, our expert commentator, the former coach of the Naval Academy and the Detroit Lions, Rick Forzano. Coach Forzano, few scores from around the country. Michigan State now leading 24-3 over Northwestern in the second quarter. What a job Darrell Rogers is doing at Michigan State.
He has done a fantastic job of bringing that program back. They're going to be reckoned with in the Big Ten.
Rutgers with a first quarter lead of 14-0 over Tulane. That'd be a blow for Eastern football if Rutgers can win that ball game. Harvard leading Yale 7-3 in the second quarter. South Carolina 7-0 over Wake Forest in the second quarter. Auburn leading Georgia 10-0 in the first quarter. Doug Barfield down at Auburn has a better football team this year than most people expected he would. And Penn State has a narrow 10-7 lead over Temple in the first quarter. So the Nittany Lions 8-1 and ranked in the top 10, trying to get in position for a major bowl bid and a chance to finish near the top of the national rankings at the end of the season. Wabash College, lovely little school, 850 men. The campus in Crawfordsville, Indiana is a beautiful place. I visited it just the other night. Let's take a look. Hey, corn! Wabash College, located in Crawfordsville, Indiana, is a small liberal arts college for men. Founded in 1832, the college does not seek nor accept federal funds and is not supported by any church. The contributions of Wabash to its region and to the nation have been impressive. The first professor, Caleb Mills, was responsible for developing the system of public education in Indiana, and Wabash alumnus Thomas Riley Marshall was governor of Indiana and vice president of the United States. Approximately 350 Wabash alumni are practicing attorneys, and another 450 are physicians and surgeons. These 800 professional men alone represent more than 10% of all living alumni. Wabash has a reputation for sound financial management and has one of the highest endowment per student ratios of any college in the country. Throughout the day, while we show you the Wabash-DePauw battle, we try to keep you up on what's going on elsewhere in college football. Let's take a momentary look at 4 of the leading candidates for the top honor for an individual player in college football, the Heisman Trophy. The 4 candidates we're going to be focusing on today: Earl Campbell of Texas, Terry Miller of Oklahoma State, Doug Williams of Grambling, Rick Leach of Michigan. They are, of course, by no means the only 4 players who remain in consideration for that kind of honor. All of them, though, would have some legitimate claim to it. Campbell, the running back for Texas, who is ranked the team which is ranked number 1 in the country, be considered by some people the player with an enormous advantage going into the voting. Now look at Earl Campbell's statistics on the season. He is the national leader in average yards rushing per game, and Earl, who's been through an injury-filled career, at the peak of his game this year. This man was the leading returning vote getter from last year's Heisman Trophy balloting, the leader in the nation in total yards rushing this year, Terry Miller. Doug Williams of Grambling, a man with incredible statistics, starting to gain more attention than any player at a predominantly black school has ever gotten. The key statistic, 29 touchdown passes this year. And Rick Leach of Michigan, a true dual threat who helps both the Michigan running game and their passing game, and who has been responsible for keeping the Wolverines in contention for the national championship for the last 2 years. Coach Forzano, that should be a tough battle all the way down. We'll talk about it briefly when we return, but we'll be back for the opening kickoff of the second half from Blackstock Stadium in just a moment. Just moments away from the opening second half kickoff, the battle for the Monon Bell, Wabash leading 23-0. Coach, I want to talk to you a moment about those 4 people we talked about in contention for the Heisman Trophy. A lot of people think that Earl Campbell has a great advantage, but, you know, Terry Miller said to me a couple weeks ago, hey, I'm the leading returning vote getter. I've had a better year than I had last year. What am I supposed to do?
I'll tell you, Jim, there are 4 great ones, but one statistic really stands out in my mind. The quarterback from Grambling, Doug Williams, 84 career touchdown passes. I don't care if you're throwing against air with no defense. That is a lot of touchdown passes.
It's also worth pointing out about Williams that while most other passing offenses have a variety of safety valves, you can toss the ball to running backs coming out of the backfield, Williams throws downfield all the time. His statistics are remarkable when you consider that he's throwing the ball 20, 25, 30 yards on every play. Kleinschmidt returning the opening kickoff of the second half for DePauw. He gets across the 25 to about the 27-yard line, and the Tigers will start the offense from there. Bruce Pickens, a reserve linebacker, was down there to make the stop for Wabash, and as DePauw tries to come back from the 23-0 deficit, we'll see who the quarterback is. It's going to be Hending, number 15, the freshman, who goes back into the ball game.
Well, he's going to stay with his original decision and give the kid a real shot. I give him credit for that.
Bob Bergman, who chose Hending to start this football game rather than Tim Werner and Rich Bowling, 2 more experienced quarterbacks. Fumble, and Hending picks it up. So it'll be no gain on the play, but DePauw manages to hold on to the ball. Borsellino was the running back to whom Hending was attempting to hand the ball. He didn't get it to him. Lance Richardson, defensive end, number 81, was there to bottle up the play for Wabash. Scores from other games briefly. Navy 17-7 over Georgia Tech in the second quarter. Michigan State now pounding Northwestern 31-3 at halftime. Pittsburgh leading Army 17-0 in the second quarter. Jay Pirtle is the man with the ball. 225-pound junior fullback from Indianapolis. And he gets across the 30 to about the 34-yard line, call it the 35, before O'Quinn and Knopfsinger were there to make the stop for Wabash.
They may give that ball to Jay Pirtle a little bit more because he's large. That Wabash defense is a little smaller. He may be able to overpower him.
Pretty little well-behaved halftime here, didn't you think? I mean, there was one incident. The DePauw student body stole the head from the Wabash mascot. Pirtle trying to get the first down on 3rd and short. Kennedy making the stop along with Fisher for Wabash, short of the first down. 4th down, punting situation for DePauw. Wyrick will go back to kick. Wyrick gets it away. Best kick of the day for him. Fair catch is called for and made at the 35-yard line. It was, and we'll be back. Wabash starts the offense from the 35-yard line. Early in the third quarter, Wabash leading 23-zip. Gives to Conway's hit by Sellers. After a pickup of about 1, it'll be 2nd down 9. Now, scores from 2 other games. Auburn now leading Georgia 16-0 in the second quarter. Halftime, Death Valley, South Carolina, Clemson 10, Notre Dame 7.
Wow.
Coming again, Scott. Come on up,
Pitch. Mellinger falls back on the ball. It'll be a loss of about 4. And 3rd down passing situation for Wabash. Let's take another look at Randy Mellinger as he tries to take the pitch and go outside.
He's trailing the pitch man for the kick out, and as the case sometimes, you just kind of take your eye off there. He slips a little bit. The pitch was a little high. Really not his fault at all. Does a good job of recovering the fumble. He's got 12 touchdowns this year already, Jim.
The 12th one earlier in the ball game today. David Harvey, screen pass. Conway is hit immediately on an outstanding defensive play by Joe Trimble. Joe Trimble, a 5'11" 185-pound senior linebacker from New Carrollton, Maryland, playing his last game in a DePauw uniform.
Now that's the same play that Tom Conway scored on for the touchdown, so they had that thing defensed, and I'll tell you, that daggone Joe Trimble has made some big hits out there today.
Pavlik back to punt for Wabash. Kleinschmidt deep fencing short for DePauw.
Back up, Kleiner.
Pavlik bobbles the ball but gets it away high and deep. Kleinschmidt over his head, inside his 20, slips and falls at the 10-yard line, and that's where they'll start the offense. So, a timeout on the field, and the score 23-0 favor Wabash. DePauw has the ball at their 10-yard line when we return after this. The football at their own 10-yard line. Scores from other games: Rutgers now leading Tulane 24-0 in the second. Duke leading North Carolina State 14-10 in the second. And in the second quarter, Oklahoma now on top of Colorado 14-0. Remember, we'll be taking you directly to Norman, Oklahoma to join that telecast as soon as this game is over. Pavlik's punt for Wabash traveled 56 yards to set up this possession by DePauw. And Pavlik is now averaging 46 yards for 4 punts. Tim Werner back in the game at quarterback, number 11 now for DePauw. So Bergman once again pulls Hending and goes with Werner. Bill Cannon, the linebacker, number 59, along with Patton, the nose guard, there to stop Kleinschmidt. Tom Kleinschmidt, a freshman from Indianapolis, whose father went to DePauw. His father is the president of the Indianapolis Area Alumni Association at DePauw, and was there for the Thursday night stag dinner, which has annually preceded this football game for the past 20 years. DePauw just going with basic running game up the middle. Cannon and O'Quinn, the linebackers, making the stop for Wabash. It was once again, well, no, it was not Kleinschmidt, it was Pirtle, another Indianapolis product, with the football. He got about 3, and now it will be third down, 4 yards to go for a first down. Ball at the 17-yard line. Werner out now, and Hending back in the game at QB. Completion. Borsellino with the ball, trying to get the first down. Nossinger, 86, defensive end, dragging him down from behind. Along with Mel Gore, the cornerback, Borsellino needed to get beyond the 20-yard line to get the first down, and let's look at it.
Well, there's Borsellino just going through the line of scrimmage into the flat on a rollout pass. Does a good job of holding on to the football. Doesn't get quite enough for the first down. He holds the record for the longest touchdown pass in DePauw history, Jim. Receiving a touchdown pass.
Wyrick will kick to Dennis Lewis, 9th DePauw punt on the day. They've gotten better at getting them off, and this time he gets away a good kick. Lewis at the 45-yard line takes it, gets past 2 tacklers and near the 50-yard line, so Wabash will start the offense from there. 35-yard punt for Wyrick. Borsellino was downfield to make the tackle for DePauw. Flag on the play. Let's see the replay as the punt gets away.
I would have to call that roughing the kicker because his kicking foot should come down to the ground before you can hit him.
Well, let's check it. There was no flag on the play. It was some other piece of yellow cloth out there on the field. And so roughing the kicker was not called. And Wabash has it first down, in and out of the hands of Barry on the pass from Harvey. 16, Jerry Hammond was there to defend, along with Tim Breslin, number 54 in the game at linebacker, placing Terry Smith momentarily. Harvey now 6 of 15 in the air, 106 yards passing on the day. And it will be 2nd and 10. Ball is right at the 49-yard line. Wabash coming into the game with a record of 8-1, trying to make it 9-1. Harvey throwing deep down the sidelines, just over the outstretched hands of Mellinger. They really like to throw it to those running backs swinging out of the backfield, especially Randy Mellinger, who has excellent hands.
He has 34 receptions this year already for 495 yards. That's a lot of yards for a back coming out of the backfield.
Don Pogue, 63, the linebacker, was downfield defending on the play. And now it is 3rd down, 10 for Wabash. Good protection for Harvey. Throwing over the outstretched hands of Barry, 3 straight incompletions, and now it'll be 4th down in a kicking situation for the Little Giants. Jerry Hammond and Scott Thompson were back to defend for DePauw. And now we'll see who'll go back to receive the punt, as Pavlik comes into the game to kick for Wabash. Kleinschmidt with the football. Good kick. Kleinschmidt is knocked down at about the 18-yard line. There's a penalty flag down on the play. We'll check the penalty as the ball was kicked deep by Pavlik. Bruce Pickens, number 52, down to cover for Wabash. Well, the official was there to make the call. And I did not understand his signal. Did you understand it, Rick?
I don't understand that either, Jim, and I think I've seen them all, but not that one.
Well, now he's going to mark off 15 yards against DePauw, so Wabash will maintain the football and get a first down at the 35-yard line.
Personal foul is what it is. I don't know what the chopping of the hands meant. That's a new one on me, Jim.
Emotions run high. That's the third personal foul we've had in the football game, and all of them are against DePauw. As we said, it was a fairly well-behaved halftime. The only incident was when a member of the DePauw student body managed to steal the head from the Little Giant mascot, Wally Wabash, and there was quite a confrontation between Wabash students trying to get it back and DePauw students hoping to maintain it. The call on the preceding play was unsportsmanlike conduct for delaying the start of the unsportsmanlike conduct, delay the start of half, illegal participation. I don't
Have a nice trip.
that either. Randy Mellinger, the tailback with the football. Jerry Hammond tackled him. There was a pickup of 4 yards to go, and we are still in the dark as to what that penalty was. Our spotter, Jim Ritz, found the signal for us, and we still don't know what it means. Harvey turns around, gets about a yard or two. According to our book, that signal, with the official holding his arms out to the side after the personal foul call, stands for unsportsmanlike conduct, delay start of half, illegal participation. Now, what that means is beyond me.
They probably meant that what happened was DePauw probably sent a substitute out late, which is a delay a game, unsportsmanlike 15-yard penalty.
That's exactly the call. We now get the word that it was 12 men on the field because of the late substitution. Pass is incomplete, and interference is going to be called. Harvey was throwing downfield into the zone. Two DePauw defenders, Whaley and Hammond, 16, converging on Spillett and Greg Cosman. Now watch Cosman go into the gap. He's bumped there once.
No question about it. That's pass interference. He was hit before the ball got to him. That was a good call by the official.
And the first down of the second half belongs to the Little Giants of Wabash. They are inside the DePauw 20-yard line at the 19.
Jim, that kicking game is really just killed DePauw. Wow.
It's actually the second first down of the ball game because, as someone points out, the illegal or the unsportsmanlike conduct call allowed the first down of the ball game. So, 2 first downs in the drive, both on penalties. Mellinger goes to the right and is hit for a loss of maybe 3 yards. Number 40, Scott Thompson, the Tiger man, came up to make the hit. And once again, a flag is down on the play. Personal foul again against DePauw. And that will move the football if the penalty is accepted down to about the 11.5-yard line.
Well, this is something you just can't keep doing to a team like Wabash. Keep encouraging them, give them 30 yards right there. That's a 30-yard gain they've got off of those 2 penalties, and DePauw can't afford to do that with Wabash.
3 penalties. Actually, DePauw would have been in possession on the punt, but the first penalty, the unsportsmanlike conduct call, gave Wabash 15 yards. Then the interference call gave them another first down. And now this third penalty, another unsportsmanlike conduct, or personal foul, moves the ball down to the 11-yard line. Mellinger sweeping left. Good block from Conway, and he goes in. Touchdown, Randy Mellinger.
You know, this is what you're looking for in a football player, a back that can find the end zone. Randy Mellinger, that's his 13th touchdown now. He avoided the tacklers. Here it is now. Doug Harvey's got the football. Dave Harvey, excuse me. He's going to kick the ball out. He waits just long enough. Boy, they make the play on there. Mellinger turns the ball on. Watch the effort to get into the end zone. Breaks tackles, good balance, 6 points. Boy, I'll tell you, just super right there, effort.
Drive is 36 yards in 5 plays. It took 1:31. Barrick's kick is up and good. And with 8:18 remaining in the third quarter, Wabash has taken a 30-0 lead over DePauw in the football game. We'll be back. The battle for the Monon Bell in just a moment. And now, Curt Cox will kick off once again for the Little Giants. Deep to receive are Borsellino and Kleinschmidt for DePauw. Cox hits this one deep. Borsellino at the 5. Hit and brought down immediately at the 20-yard line by number 67, Fred Schmelzer, reserve offensive guard, who got down the field quickly. Immediately following the Prudential College scoreboard after today's Oklahoma-Colorado telecast, which we will be joining, you'll see on ABC's Wide World of Sports the United States versus Cuba team boxing match live from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Plus, a special profile featuring Teofilo Stevenson of Cuba, the 1972 and 1976 Olympic heavyweight boxing gold medalist, probably the greatest amateur boxer in the world, and a very interesting man. We visited him in Cuba to give you this filmed look. Hinding gets about a yard. David Patton bringing him to the turf on first down for DePauw. Jay Pirtle is in the football game. Now Borsellino is going to come back and replace Pirtle as Coach Bob Bergman uses the running backs to send in his offensive plays. National boxing teams from Cuba and the United States on Wide World, the 2 top boxing powers in the world. You'll see some new faces for the United States. Of course, all of the great young fighters from Montreal have now turned pro. Some reserves getting into the game now. 81 is Dolan, the tight end, with the reception from Hinding. Ball is knocked loose from Dolan, and now they're going to call the ball dead. Mel Gore, number 18, who has made some vicious hits in that secondary today, was up to knock the ball loose. You know, Rick, I've been very fortunate to travel to a lot of unusual places in working on Wide World of Sports telecasts. And this trip, while it's not a wide world, this trip to lovely woodlands of Indiana for this football game will stand out in my mind as one of the most unusual I've been on. We'll talk about some of the things we've done and seen here in a minute. Another completion from Hinding to Dolan. And again, Mel Gore, number 18, makes a violent tackle. But Dolan held on to the football. His second straight reception moves the ball out to the 43-yard line, and it'll be second down and 2 from there. Unusual in the sense that this game is so natural and unaffected. I can't help but use the same words that John Underwood used in a great Sports Illustrated article a few years ago. If you think you know college football because you've been to UCLA, Southern Cal, or Ohio State, Michigan, you could not be more deluded. You couldn't be farther from the truth. Kleinschmidt gets away from one tackler and now has running room down the middle. Great run by Kleinschmidt. Number 42, Tom Weber, the cornerback, caught him from behind. Not before Kleinschmidt picked up 28 yards and a first down on the play, and now for the first time all day, the DePauw offense looks poised, confident, and ready to move the football.
That's right, and just get that 6 points in there. 59 Cannon, their fine linebacker for Wabash. For the first time, he was cut off. And when they cut him off from the inside, the long run by Kleinschmidt.
Another good hole on the right side of the offensive line, and Pirtle gets through for about 5 yards.
Jim, you know, to go back to what you were talking about, I wouldn't give these 3 days up that I've had here for anything. I've just had a ball. The people here, the student body, the rivalry has just been super. I'll tell you, it's been a great 3 days.
Well, you have to consider also, I think, the fact that this is not only a great game in and of itself, but it reflects a very important thing in college athletics. There are many, many more schools. As Kleinschmidt gets a yard for DePauw, Quinn makes the tackle for Wabash. There are many, many more schools playing football at this level and in this atmosphere than playing big-time Division I highly publicized football.
That's right, and it's a school where, hey, it's academics #1. Boy, that is so important. I know the ratio of professors to students, something like 11 to 1. I mean, they're here to get an education and play athletics secondly.
Third down now, 4 yards to go for a first down. Good fake, and Hending keeps the ball around the left side. And as Weber wrestles him to the ground, with help from number 71, Kennedy, Hending is close to the first down. He's inside the 20 to about the 18. They had to reach a point just outside the 18 to get the first down, and now they'll bring the chains across and measure. Division III football is, of course, an atmosphere in which there are no athletic scholarships. The students who play football for Wabash and DePauw can receive academic aid if they graduate in the top 20% of their high school class, or financial aid based on need. Right. Their parents fill out a confidential personal statement, but in no case are we looking at any player who's receiving aid in return for his athletic ability. They are all legitimate, honest to God, pure students. They're doing a heck of a job playing for pride and all the other things that go with college football. Hending rolling right on first down into the end zone. Dolan made a catch. What a tremendous catch by Dolan. Touchdown for DePauw. And you think they tied the football game?
I'll tell you one thing right now. That is great. Boy, when you see the spirit, they score a touchdown. They're down by 24 points, and hey, they're still ready to go. This ball game isn't out of it. At least DePauw doesn't believe they're out of it.
A great drive for the DePauw offense. That'll give them confidence for next year. 8 plays, 80 yards, 3 minutes, 35 seconds. Hending, the freshman quarterback, with 4 excellent plays during the drive. On that one, he just lofted the ball up, and Dolan made an extraordinary catch in the end zone. Frazier's extra point kick is wide to the right. So the score will remain Wabash 30, but DePauw on the board with 6 points. We'll be back with a few scores of other games and more of the third quarter in the battle for the Monon Bell in just a moment. Rick Forzano, you take it and tell us about this marvelous catch.
Well, you know, in football, effort. You preach effort. And here's Bobby Dolan. Watch the effort in the end zone to get the ball from Gore. Watch him stretch out all the way. Oh, just a great effort for a touchdown. That's what you look for when you're coaching.
Gore and Wheatley were there for Wabash. Beach was also there for DePauw, but it was Dolan, who now has 5 catches for 55 yards in the ballgame, who made the play to give DePauw the touchdown. Now Frazier will kick off for DePauw. And he manages to get the ball up. Oh! 22 is John Barry with the football for Wabash. He gets it back across the 25 to about the 30-yard line. Don Pogue made the stop. Monday night football this Monday night, the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Dallas Cowboys. Once again, the Eastern Division NFL battle. Rematch of one of the all-time Monday night classics of years ago, the 38-0 Cardinal wipeout of Dallas, and the Cowboys remain the only undefeated team in the National Football League. Hammond comes up to make a great stop on Mellinger. Penalty flag goes down after the play, but Mellinger was hit for a loss of about 4. We'll wait to see what the penalty is. While we wait, and Coach, if I may get in here quickly, some scores from other games. One I've been saving, Clemson, 17-7, now leading number 5 Notre Dame in the third quarter down at Death Valley. I've seen a lot of football games down there, and not too many teams come from behind against Clemson and Death Valley. Oklahoma is now leading Colorado 28-0 in the second quarter, and once again we'll be joining that game in progress a little later on. Navy leading Georgia Tech 17-13 at halftime. South Carolina over Wake Forest 14-7 at halftime. Kentucky has a 6-0 first quarter lead over Florida. Arkansas trailing Texas A&M and Tony Franklin 3-0 in the first quarter. At halftime, Yale is beating Harvard 10-7, and Brown has a 14-7 halftime lead over Columbia. Harvey rolling to the left. Open receiver downfield, he overthrows it. Hammond came up to make the play on Martin. The ball was overthrown. Total yards in the football game remarkably even after that last drive by DePauw. It's now 180 yards for the Tigers versus only 184 yards for Wabash. So the DePauw defense has really done a very good job.
They certainly have, and I'll tell you, Jim, that Jerry Hammond has to be kind of high on our list right now for the Chevrolet Defensive Player of the Game Award. He's playing an outstanding football game.
Most of the yardage that Wabash has managed to pick up here in the second half has been on penalty calls against DePauw. Harvey dropping back inside his 5. Throws the ball out, intended for Mellinger. Good job by Joe Trimble. Now let's take a look at the interior linemen and the job they've been doing. The offensive line blocking very well for Harvey all day.
Actually, after the first 2 minutes of this football game, DePauw has not been able to get to the passer. Harvey's been standing back there, sitting back there in a rocking chair. They just super well-coached football team. That offensive line does an excellent job for Wabash.
And now Wabash, in bad field position, is going to punt on 4th down. 4th down is what they have on the marker. 4th down, 27 yards to go. I only remember 2 plays. Kleinschmidt with the ball at midfield. Fumbles the football forward. The Rover back, Ruddy with the ball. It'll have to come back. You cannot advance. So Ruddy is going to celebrate if he goes into the end zone, but he'll be celebrating a Pyrrhic victory. Ball cannot be advanced on a fumbled kick, and it will be 1st down Wabash at the 39-yard line. So they got themselves out of the hole by forcing that DePauw fumble. Here's Kleinschmidt.
Kleinschmidt does an excellent job of catching the football, now turning it back upfield, trying to get as many yards as he can, but he gets stripped of the football, fumbles it. That's a tough break for DePauw.
Barry Switzer's Sooners are red hot. Oklahoma's just scored again, and it's now 35-0. Second quarter, Oklahoma over Colorado. We'll be joining that game and get you a look at the Sooners.
That's really a surprise, Jim, because that ball game was going to be one of those close ones.
Very important game down in the Southwest Conference, and A&M out on top of Arkansas 3-0. That game is being played in College Station. Arkansas is currently under observation by both the Sugar and the Orange Bowls. Either of the two may be interested in the Razorbacks if they don't manage to win the Southwest Conference and get into the Cotton Bowl. Right now, the inside track in the Southwest Conference belongs to Texas, but Texas has to face Baylor next week on regional television on ABC, and they must face Texas A&M the following week.
Well, you know, when you talk about Arkansas, Jim, Lou Holtz, the head coach out there, was my assistant at Connecticut and a fine football coach, and I'd like to see him get his football team into a bowl.
He's not just a fine football coach. I think he's an offensive genius.
Oh, super, super.
Halftime score from Lafayette, Indiana. Michigan has come back to go on top of Purdue 17-7. Michigan, which traditionally has trouble on grass fields, has managed to get back out on top of Purdue. Pitch is to Conway going around the left side. Sellers made the stop for DePauw, along with Terry Smith. And it'll be 2nd down, 7 yards to go. Michigan lost at Lafayette, Indiana last year, playing on grass in the only regular season game that the Wolverines played on grass all last year. It's really different to play on grass as opposed to artificial turf.
There's no question about it. It's a much faster game. The timing is all different on the artificial surface as opposed to the grass surface.
Harvey on 2nd down drops straight back. Out of the hands of Mick Martin, as number 41, Dan Whaley, got there to make a play for DePauw. And let's take a look at Dan Whaley, number 41, and Doug Harvey trying to work him away from the ball.
Dan Whaley, here he is, backpedaling, keeping the man to his inside. Now watch him, now he's going to react. The ball is thrown, he's moving on the football. He did a great job here because you could tell he was playing the quarterback's eyes. And as soon as the quarterback looked to Mick Martin, he got the jump on the football. Fine defensive play.
I said Doug Harvey. It is Dave Harvey. We continually confuse him with the great defenseman of the Chicago Blackhawks. Good pass from Dave Harvey into the hands of Split in Greg Kozman. He's knocked down by Scott Fensick, but not before the pickup was down to about the 43-yard line. And that will create a first down for Wabash. Little Giants moving with the football in DePauw territory. 3 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. This time Harvey misses Galloway. Joe Trimble, the linebacker, covering Galloway. Would have had him for a very short gain, even if Galloway had made the catch.
You know, Jim, when you take a football game like this, it's a seniors football game, and right now they're kind of keeping some of the seniors on the bench, but I expected we'd see them in a little later on here.
Last year, Notre Dame went down and played in South Carolina, in Columbia, versus the South Carolina Gamecocks. This year's trip is to Clemson, South Carolina, and I think the Irish might wish that they had gone back to Columbia. Terry Smith, number 79, making the stop for DePauw, as, along with Pogue, as Conway was trying to get yardage for Wabash. Sellers was also in on the stop. DePauw beginning to gang tackle now. Once again, the DePauw defense has not been embarrassed here, despite the fact that they trail 30-6 in the football game.
Matter of fact, they look extremely well coached on defense. Just super well coached.
The kicking game where they've had their biggest problems. Harvey dropped the football. It bounced directly back up into his hands. Then he makes a heck of a throw down the sideline to Barry. Barry makes the catch. Fensick was there to knock him down, but Sellers was the man who rushed Harvey. And as Harvey got in trouble with Sellers, he dropped the ball, bounced directly back up into his hands. He rolled to the right, made the throw to Barry, and the completion brings another first down at the 28-yard line.
You can see why Dave Harvey is considered a professional baseball prospect there, Jim. He just picked that ball up, scooped it up, kept his poise, turned up the field, and threw it to Barry for a long completion.
Harvey not having one of his better days statistically, 8 of 23 for 136 yards. But he's getting the job done on the scoreboard. Keeping the ball inside the 25 to the 24. Eric Eichholz make the stop for DePauw. Or check it, not Eichholz, Albert Mazzata, 77. Mazzata's been in the ball game most of the way since the second quarter, and he's done a heck of a job. A few more scores from around the Midwest. Iowa leading Wisconsin 14-0 in the second quarter. Nebraska on top of Kansas 14-0 in the first quarter. Texas Tech has jumped out to a 6-0 lead over SMU. Pittsburgh back in East Rutherford, New Jersey, 38-0 lead over Army at halftime. Matt Cavanaugh just pouring it on. And in the second quarter, North Carolina, the Tar Heels headed for a bowl game, leading Virginia 7-0. Harvey throws. Mick Martin with the catch. Penalty flag down. Whaley made the stop. Ball is inside the 15 to about the 13. I think it was an interference call against Whaley, which will naturally be declined because Martin made the catch.
You know, Martin out there is a tight end. They also flex him out, and that shows his mobility and his ability to get open on that just simple turn in. But for a tight end, that's a tough turn in, and he did it without any problem whatsoever.
Penn State has exploded a little bit. They now lead Temple 30-7 in the second quarter. Michigan State in the third quarter leading Northwestern 38-3. Harvey is going to be sacked this time. 77, Mazzata was there. 82, Jeff Steele was the first man to get there. And for the first time since the first quarter, the DePauw rush gets to David Harvey.
It seems like when they attempt to put a little bit more pressure on by sending a linebacker here and there, Jim, they do put the pressure on Dave Harvey and make it more difficult for him to throw the football.
Colorado's gotten on the board against Oklahoma. Now 35-7 Oklahoma in the second quarter. Harvey gets away, but now he's going to go down again. And once again, Mazzata was there. Number 73, Merida, a freshman from DeMott, also there, and Sellers was in on the rush.
I'll tell you, Coach Bergman from DePauw has to be really proud of that football team. The way they are playing right now, they are getting down and they're getting after him despite the score of 30-6.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score Wabash 30 and DePauw 6. We'll be back with the final quarter of play in just a minute. The Wabash-DePauw game is just the beginning of a big day of sports on ABC. Stick with us. Immediately at the end of the game, we'll go to Norman, Oklahoma to join our national telecast of the Oklahoma Sooners and the Colorado Buffaloes. Then the Prudential College scoreboard. Then Wide World of Sports, United States versus Cuba boxing. Harvey under a huge rush. Gets the ball away into the middle. And very smartly dropping the football was number 45, Galloway, who would not have gained yardage if he'd held on. Sellers and Mazzata and Guy Relford were the three DePauw players who had Harvey under a heavy rush back inside his own territory. Ball is at about the 37-yard line. Stick with us. We'll be choosing Chevrolet offensive and defensive players of the game as we wind down toward the conclusion. $1,000 scholarship in the name of each player will go to the general fund of the school that he attends. Pavlik's punt is loose outside the 10-yard line, and they're going to say that it hit a DePauw player. It's recovered by number 51, Terry Simmons, a reserve center for Wabash, and it'll be Wabash football at the 13-yard line. It touched a DePauw blocker's leg.
Boy, that's something, Jim, when you're coaching, when that ball is rolling around and you're the receiving team, you say, get away from that football because you're looking to block. You don't see the football. It hits you in the leg. There's another turnover right now. The kicking game has absolutely killed DePauw today.
Well, right now DePauw has called a timeout. As I said, we'll be choosing offensive and defensive players of this game. A $1,000 scholarship in the name of each will go to the general fund of whichever school the offensive and defensive players of the game attend. And immediately after, the Prudential College scoreboard, which will follow the Oklahoma-Colorado telecast. Once again, film profile of Teofilo Stevenson, 1972 and 76 Olympic heavyweight gold medalist from Cuba. Teofilo Stevenson has resumed training. He was burned several months ago in a fire which took place at his home in Cuba. Our cameras visited him in Cuba to get this up-close look at the greatest amateur boxer in the world. Harvey on first down gives off to Mellinger. Morita and Pogue were there. It was not Mellinger, but Conway with the football. I'll check it now. I'm told it was John Barry, number 22, who carried the football. Barry, who occasionally gets the ball in a setback position, took it up the middle. Well, no, it was Conway. Let's get it straight, guys. Barry's out on the flank. Conway, the fullback, number 34, had the football. We've had great spotting help from both schools today. Harvey pitches to Galloway, and Galloway gets a couple of yards around the right side before Joe Trumbull, number 56, who's been in on dozens of stops, helped to make the tackle for DePauw. Defensive player of the game, I kind of like Trumbull, number 56, and Pogue, 63, along with Hammond, 16 for DePauw. They would be three candidates, I think, for that DePauw defense.
I agree with you wholeheartely, Jim. Those three people have played very well for DePauw.
And in the recent series, Sellers was in on 3 straight pass rushes against Harvard. So DePauw has 4 defensive players who I think would be candidates for that honor. Wabash has some too. Barry held on to the ball. It's a touchdown if the penalty flag is not against Wabash, but there is a penalty flag on the play, so let's wait. Illegal procedure, Wabash, and that will bring it back. Barry was in the corner of the end zone working against Finsick. He made a heck of a catch, but the flag had already been thrown.
Jim, we may have had a lot of turnovers in this ball game, but you certainly can't fault the effort. Just like on that last catch, even though it wasn't a touchdown, Barry just stretched out as far as he could to make an outstanding catch.
Statistics at the end of the third quarter showed Wabash with 209 total yards to 180 for DePauw. There were 13 turnovers in the game by the time we had finished 3 quarters, and they're pretty well on that pace. There are 14 turnovers in the game now. Oh! What a sack. Ray Morita, number 73, along with Sellers, number 88, and it was Sellers who came from Harvey's blind side as Harvey was looking downfield to try to find a receiver and simply planted him in the turf. So that'll bring up 4th down and a punting situation with the ball back now outside the 20 at the 22-yard line.
I'll tell you, Bob Bergman has to be just so proud of that defensive unit, to repeat myself, Jim, because they have played just very, very well against a fine offensive Wabash team.
Well, they're not going to punt. They're going to leave Harvey in on 4th down. They're going to go for it. Throwing it to the right corner. Barry's there, but the pickoff is made by Fensick. It'll be a touchback. The ball come out to the 20 to 15th turnover of the ball game is an interception by Scott Fensick, and Albert Mazzotta, number 77, was in to put the rush on Harvey. So there's the man who made the interception, Fensick. He has given DePauw the ball at the 20, and that's where they'll have it when we return. 12 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the football game. DePauw, which has just taken over on the interception by Scott Fensick, has the ball at its own 20-yard line. Hinding throwing deep down the sidelines to Jay True, and it's just out of his hands. Now let's take another look at the interception on the preceding play by Scott Fensick in the corner of the end zone. Barry goes up.
There it is. Barry thinks he has it. Scott Fensick just steps right in front of him, gets higher than the ball, gets up there and catches the interception. Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's a fine defensive back, just like his brother.
Another classic example of that truism of defensive backfield play. You have to move on the ball, play the ball. He did a good job.
Let's go!
Wide receiver split to the right. Ending gives up the middle to Borsellino. Or no, Kleinschmidt, not Borsellino. And Kleinschmidt got a couple before Mike O'Quinn made the stop. First quarter score, Mississippi leading Tennessee 17-0. Ohio State now leading Indiana 14-7 in the third quarter. Lee Corso's Hoosiers being surprisingly tough against the Buckeyes in Columbus.
6:48.
Hurdle with the football. Good yardage. Out near the 30-yard line. Bill Cannon made the stop for Wabash, but it's a pickup of about 5 for Pirtle. Not enough for the first down, however. It'll be 4th down, 2 yards to go now. And Wyrick is in the ball game to punt for DePauw. Dennis Lewis goes deep to receive for Wabash. Jerome Baldwin, I should say. Jerome Baldwin almost got it again. Lewis takes the run from his 30 to the 34, and it'll be first down for Wabash there. But on the 42-yard kick by Wyrick, which is his best of the day, let's watch Jerome Baldwin once again get right in his eyes.
Right there. Now watch Jerome come into on the left side of your screen right there. Oh, he just missed it. And you know, there's something about this thing of blocking punts. When you once get one, you believe you can get all the rest. He'll be a great one for them for the next years to come.
Conway, running room around the right side. Hammond makes the stop as Conway gets it out near the 40. Pickup of about 5. It'll be second down 5. I must confess that before this season, I didn't know much of anything about a coach whose name is Charlie Pell. But he has done one of the best coaching jobs in the country with the Clemson Tigers, who right now in the fourth quarter are holding on to a 17-7 lead over Notre Dame, a victory that would make them 8-1-1. With a win over Notre Dame, they'd have to look pretty good as a bowl prospect. Good throw. The catch is made by Martin. Across the 45 at the 48-yard line. Fensick made the tackle. And the completion from Harvey to Martin will give Wabash another first down. We expect that Wabash, with the 30-6 lead, will eventually start to empty the bench and give some of their players who haven't had a chance to play in this game an opportunity to taste the thrill of being involved in the Wabash-DePauw battle. Reverse to Barry. He's got running room. Blocker out in front. Number 60, the blocker was Rick Windhorn. Scott Fensick from the left corner fought him off and made a good play to stop Barry, but not before Barry got 11 yards and a first down at the 41-yard line of DePauw.
You know, Jim, I know the score is 30-6, but boy, the intensity out on that field between the 22 players on the field is still there. They are still knocking each other around.
Tell me what you know about Charlie Pell, the guy who has really turned it around at Clemson and might be beating Notre Dame today.
Well, all I know is he's ahead of Notre Dame 17-7. If he does that, he'll own the state.
Harvey throws, right side. Martin bobbles it, and he was still bobbling it when they went out of bounds. Fensick was defending, and it's an incompletion. It'll be second down 10. You know, while we're talking about coaches who've done a good job, our producer Rick LaCivita points out that Indiana, under Lee Corso, has had a better than expected year. And he's got them hanging on against Ohio State and Columbus, 4-4-1 coming into this game. Lee Corso, one of the most interesting and quotable men in coaching. Galloway with the pitch. Good yardage down the right side before Sellers, well, before Trimble knocked him out of bounds. Sellers was back there to force the pitch.
Simon comes out of bounds. That's number 56, Joe Trimble.
And we've just been notified that Mick Martin came into this game needing 3 pass catches to tie the season receiving record for Wabash at 42 catches. He's caught 3 for 34 today, so he has tied that record, and the next catch for Mick Martin will make him the all-time leading single-season receiver at Wabash. And Mick Martin is only a sophomore. Flag down as Harvey rolls to the right. Good tackle by number 56, Joe Trimble, out there in open field. Penalty will be an illegal procedure call against Wabash. A few more scores from around the country. Yale leading Harvard 10-7 in the third quarter. A&M, Texas A&M that is, has tied Arkansas up 3-3 in the first quarter. That means rather that Arkansas and Steve Little have tied Texas A&M and Tony Franklin. That could be quite a kicker's battle, too, of the very best kickers.
When you're in a ball game like this, it's a very difficult thing, Jim, here at 30-6. You're the leading coach. You're ahead 30-6. What to do? When do you substitute? And I know you can sit and second guess and say, well, you should take Harvey out, you should take Martin out, but you never know that. He wants to keep an edge. He wants to let people know that he wants that playoff bid. So he's going to have a decision to make here when to replace those people.
On 1st and 15, Harvey gets about a yard. Morita makes the tackle. I think what you say makes sense. He also wants to, however, while maintaining momentum and rolling up an impressive score for the people who are going to be choosing which team will go into the Division III playoffs, he wants to be sure he doesn't needlessly injure a Dave Harvey or a Mick Martin or somebody else like that in a game that has already been decided.
That's right. Those are pretty good decisions, though, you like to make as coaches when you're ahead 30-6.
A lot easier from that vantage point, right? Flags down, Harvey deep downfield. Whaley makes the play after, or Hammond, I should say, makes the play after a good catch by Pavlik, who was in the game and split in. But we'll see what the flag is going to be. And I think it's going to bring it back. First quarter score, Missouri leading Oklahoma State and Terry Miller 7-0. First quarter, Baylor over Rice 7-0. Second quarter, Nebraska 14, Kansas zip. Fourth quarter, Michigan State leading Northwestern 38-3. Texas Tech now out on top of SMU 21-0. And in the second quarter, the Crimson Tide of Alabama with a 12-0 lead over Miami. Harvey gets away. Fensick follows him out of bounds. Fensick wanted to hit Harvey, but Harvey got to the sideline a little too quickly for it.
That's the thing you were just talking about. You know, he could have gone out of bounds there, been hit, and been injured. And boy, that's scary, and I'm sure that's why he took Randy Mellinger out of the ball game, because he doesn't want him to aggravate that injury any more than he has.
Well, Harvey saw that first down stick and just went right for it and picked up the first down for Wabash. So with the ball at the 19-yard line, it's another first down for the Little Giants. 8:38 on the clock. Clock stopped now. And Wabash once again with the 30-6 lead. Harvey still throwing. Sellers putting the rush on. Martin just breaks the school record for pass receptions, his 43rd catch of the year. Down to the 6-yard line, Dan Whaley, the safety man, there to make the stop along with Scott Fensick. But it's another first down, and this time it'll be first and goal for Wabash.
Mick Martin is one of those receivers, again, that knows how to get open. He can feel himself into the open area, and Harvey can pick him out. That Martin, for a sophomore, boy, he's got a great future ahead of him also.
6 foot 1 inch, 195-pound sophomore from Waynetown, Indiana. And there he is on your screen, number 84. He plays the tight end position. They very often split him out away from the line of scrimmage, though, to give him a better opportunity to get into the area where he can catch some passes. This throw out into the flat is in and out of the hands of Conway. Don Pogue, number 63, was in to rush Harvey as he threw the pass.
Well, they had pressure on Harvey that time, but that young man has a lot of poise back there. He doesn't rattle easy. He lets that ball go at the last split second.
Harvey, who is considered a possibility as far as making one of the Division III All-America squads is concerned. So far on the day, he's 11 completions in 30 attempts, 170 yards, but it really has not been that great a day for Dave Harvey because a lot of those incompletions have been interceptions, 5 to be exact. This pass is incomplete.
Poor old Tom
and Trimble were depending.
Poor old Tom Conway. That's the second time now in a row. He thinks that ball's filled with helium out there, Jim. It's 2 tough grabs for him.
Halftime score, Minnesota 7, Illinois nothing. Let's look what happened to Joe Trimble on this play.
Joe Trimble gets cut off a little bit, but he's still trying to get to the sideline. They had almost a little pick play right there on Joe Trimble, who is a fine linebacker for DePauw.
Would have been a touchdown for Conway if he could have held on. 3rd down and goal. Harvey still throwing. Picked off. Jerry Hammond. Is he going to choose to run it out? No, he's going to sit down, and the ball will come out to the 20, and it's the second interception of the day for Jerry Hammond.
That young man has played himself one fine football game. Right from the very first, he has been one of the propelling factors in the defense, and their defense has been great for DePauw. Again,
we'll be back.
They got to be proud of their effort all the way.
Giants of Wabash are going to get to keep the Monon bell for one more year. They've been in control of this football game since a 4-minute first in the second quarter, but DePauw has never quit. Steve Hending throws down the field, incomplete, intended for the tight end Dolan. Mel Gore was there to make the play from his corner position along with Bill Cannon, the linebacker.
Open right.
DePauw has never quit. They've played a gutty football game and have really probably played better than Wabash in the second half, except for the penalties, which have given Wabash an opportunity to move the football and control the football, especially in the last 12 minutes. In the last 12 minutes, Wabash has had the football for all but 1 minute and 15 seconds of action. Hurdle going up the middle. He ran into one of his own blockers and then managed to spin off and pick up about 6 or 7 yards. Mark Knopfsinger made the stop from his defensive end position. 3rd down and gain. Well, the gain of 6 makes it 3rd down, 3 yards to go.
Jim, you know, again, this has been an even game offensively and defensively. It's been that kicking game that has spelled the difference.
Hurdle's such a big, powerful guy. He got away from one man, and then Mike O'Quinn bear hugged him and simply stayed with him until Pirtle got tired and fell down. Now, with 9 minutes left in the 4th quarter, Notre Dame has scored down at Clemson, but they still trail 17-14. So Joe Montana, who has brought the Irish from behind so many times in his career, will once again be trying to pull one out for them. Wyrick goes back to punt for DePauw. This time Baldwin backed off. Lewis makes the catch, gets away from the first 2 tacklers and gets across the 40 to about the 43. Borsellino made the hit downfield for DePauw after the 34-yard punt by Wyrick. Nick Marshall, number 64, was also down there. Stick with us. At the end of the game, we'll be choosing Chevrolet Outstanding Offensive and Defensive Players of the Game. And there are a lot of candidates for those honors. 1st and 10 for Wabash. Harvey still in the game at quarterback. Conway looked around and there was nobody there. Now he gets a cut. He needs to outrun one man. And he decides he can't outrun it. He walks right into it. Number 45, Al Smith, reserve safety, was back there to make the stop. It was a 52-yard run for Tom Conway, and kind of an unusual one, just a quick pop up the middle. He got away from one man and was spinning and expected to be hit again, and I think at that point he kind of opened his eyes and looked around, and there was nothing but open field.
Boy, he just burst into the daylight all of a sudden, and he was there, and he was on his way. He was trying to get into that end zone, but he just didn't have quite enough speed to make it.
He does have some speed. He had a 93-yard touchdown run earlier in the season against Rose Holman. And on that play, number 41, Dan Whaley, re-injured an ankle. Pitch is fumbled and fallen on. Galloway recovering for Wabash. Joe Trimble, number 56. Once again in on the play along with Sellers for DePauw. So it will now be second down and goal from the 11. As Wabash tries to put the finishing touches on what is going to be a less than artistic but extremely satisfying win, if they can, or barring a miracle in the closing moments. Well, Conway is 2 yards short of his touchdown. Scott Fensick makes the stop along with Trimble once again. There's Whaley on the bench with an injured ankle for DePauw. He's been in on a lot of plays and would have been their punter had not he had the injured right ankle. And, you know, if they had had their regular punter, Dan Whaley, DePauw might not be in so much trouble this game.
That's an excellent point, Jim, because early in the game, a guy with experience like Whaley, who's an exceptional kicker, he would have helped him.
Stick with us. We'll be going to Norman, Oklahoma to join our national telecast of the Colorado-Oklahoma game. Immediately following the conclusion of this, we'll also keep up with that Notre Dame-Clemson score, and we'll be back in just a moment. So, with third down and goal for Wabash with the ball on the 2-yard line, make it the 3-yard line. Dave Harvey comes back with the play that he hopes will get the icing touchdown. Ball is fumbled. And DePauw recovers. Pogue, number 63, comes up with the football once again. What a nose for a loose football Don Pogue has. Junior linebacker from Hamilton, Ohio.
You know, Jim, you talk about character in football. Now, let me tell you, that DePauw defensive team could have laid down and played dead right there. They're behind 30-6. They got the ball. Wabash has the ball in scoring territory. They didn't. They rose up. They hit the guy. They recovered the fumble. Boy, that's courage and character as far as I'm concerned.
I remember a couple of years ago, Oklahoma in the closing moments of a game against Iowa State had 12 turnovers in the game. And Barry Switzer discovered that the NCAA record was 12 and told his team, go out there and get the record, man. And sure enough, they went out and fumbled and turned it over a 13th time. Well, that was the 10th Wabash turnover of the game. 6 interceptions and 4 fumbles. Hending still in the game at quarterback for DePauw, number 15. He managed to move the ball out for about 2 yards on first down, so it'll be second down 8. And in the turnover competition, DePauw has 7. Hurdle with the football, gets across the 5 to about the 6-yard line. Mike O'Quinn made the stop. Years from now, none of these statistics will be remembered. None of the turnovers, none of the other errors that have marred the game at times, nor, unfortunately, will the great performance probably by Mick Martin or some of the other players who played so well here today. What will be remembered is that Wabash managed to keep the Monon Bell for another very satisfactory year against their heated and heartfelt rival, DePauw. On third down, Mike O'Quinn, the linebacker, making the stop on Galloway, or check it, not Galloway, it was Steve Trulask with the football. There once again is a look at the bell, 350-pound bell from the old Monon railroad line. And Wyrick once again goes back to punt for DePauw. Dennis Lewis catching the ball outside the 40. Now he's inside the 35 and knocked off his feet at about the 34-yard line. Frazier was downfield for DePauw along with Borsellino. 29-yard kick by Wyrick. We remind you again, we'll be going from here to Norman, Oklahoma, then to the Prudential College Football Scoreboard, then to Houston, Texas, live for the United States versus Cuba boxing matches and the up-close and personal profile of Teofilo Stevenson of Cuba. Barry with the football, going off left tackle, and he gets inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line before Eichholz makes the stop for DePauw. 2 minutes, 54 seconds remaining, and the clock moving. While I have a moment, I want to thank our spotters for today's game, John Banker from DePauw and Fred Lane from Wabash. Our statistician, Jim Ritz, has done his normal sensational job. Give off the right side to Barry. He breaks a tackle and gets inside the 25. I'll call it the 25-yard line, where it will be third down, 2 yards to go. Joe Trimble, for the umpteenth time today, made the stop for DePauw.
I'll tell you, Jim, there's a great one next Saturday, Ohio State versus Michigan. I was born in Ohio. I'm living in Michigan. What a great game. I'm looking forward to seeing.
Barry trying to get the first down on the handoff from Harvey. Officials call time to look at it. Barry needed to get the ball to about the 28. Sellers and Mazzata made the tackle. That Ohio State-Michigan game will be brought to you over our national telecast on all of these ABC stations. First game of a doubleheader will be followed on most of these ABC stations across the country by #1 ranked Texas going against Baylor. One of the last two big hurdles for the Longhorns as they try to finish the season as the only undefeated and untied team in the top 10. Barry did get the first down for Wabash. They control the football inside 2 minutes to go in the game. Ohio State with Rod Gerald and Ron Springs. Jeff Logan has not had a great year for the Buckeyes. He's been injured much of the year. Michigan, of course, with Leach, Huckleby, Davis, that great offensive backfield. And if Ohio State can win the football game, they will be the Big Ten champions. If, however, Michigan wins the football game, they will go once again back to that rat race process of trying to determine which team goes to the Rose Bowl. That causes almost more bloodshed than the game itself.
Regardless, though, everyone will be watching ABC next week to watch that ball game between Ohio State and Michigan. Wow.
Cal Stahl of Minnesota is the man who threw the monkey wrench into the Big 2 and the Little 8 this year with Minnesota's upset victory over Michigan. The Wolverines won't have to worry too much about that if they can beat Ohio State next week. Galloway with the football moving inside. Joe Trimble, number 56, made the stop. Third down now, 5 yards to go. Rick, I think that Joe Trimble of DePauw is probably going to be as good a choice as any, as outstanding defensive player in the game. He's been in on literally dozens of tackles.
No question about it. Been in a lot of plays, made some crushing tackles. I vote with you 100%.
So let's say that as Barry goes for the first down on third down, let's say that Trimble, number 56 of DePauw, is our outstanding defensive player of the game. There he is on the screen. It's impossible, really, to say that one man stood out tremendously in a great DePauw defensive effort, despite the fact they've given up 30 points. Guys like Sellers, Hammond, Trimble, Finsick, Hogue, Mazzata, all of them have been tremendously impressive. Fourth down now, and Wabash going for the first down on 4th and 3. Barry again gets the call, moving off the left side. And as the game ends, no, there's 1 second still remaining on the clock. Clock still has 1 second, even though, well, now they're going to take that second off the clock, and so that's going to be it. Final score, Wabash 30, DePauw 6. We told you our outstanding defensive player of the game is Trimble. Outstanding offensive player of the game, I think we have to choose number 44, Jerome Baldwin of Wabash, who blocked those kicks in the first half and set up Wabash's opportunities to get on the scoreboard and get the early touchdowns that put them out in front comfortably in the game. So, defensive player of the game, Joe Trimble of DePauw, a $1,000 scholarship in his name will go to the General Scholarship Fund at DePauw. Offensive player of the game, 44, Jerome Baldwin of Wabash. $1,000 scholarship in his name will go to the General Scholarship Fund of Wabash College. There is Coach Frank Navarro, the head coach of the Wabash Little Giants, now 9-1 on the season, and they hope headed to a Division III playoff. It could be them, it could be Albion, it could be Wheaton. They will find out sometime this week. Travel arrangements made through a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United built the largest airline in the free world around you. Once again, the final score, Wabash 30, DePauw 6. Now let's go to Norman, Oklahoma, where we'll be joining live coverage of Oklahoma and Colorado.